Cause they sold. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant, slay the competition cause I'm walking like a giant. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, corner booth.
I see as well. Kate, I feel like I have not officially said this. I've tiptoed around it. Kate, will you marry me?
Do I have to answer now? Or
no, you have time. You can think about it. You can think about a way to say no without hurting my feelings if you want.
Oh
lovely. I'll send you a letter.
Just don't even.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll send you my address later so you can send it to my house.
Yeah, I'm never giving you my address. I don't want you getting that close.
Oh, I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that intro never gets old. It is the Corner Booth pregame Charles Haley edition. Want to go with an NFL legend right there? I'm just running. I try to find hockey players or baseball guys. He always comes back to football guys who I want to use for this like intro every time. But it is Thursday. It is Masters and baseball opening day weekend. Of course, my guest to my left is wearing his Cubs uniform. I am, of course, rocking another team that will miss the playoffs in the NL. My Diamondbacks. I will be a fan for life. And we have a Rays fan below us who will probably be celebrating a playoff berth by mid-September at this point.
Yeah, we will.
Oh, my God. I love what your team's got one of the best prospects in baseball, and they just know how to work payroll. Either way, folks, it's a great day for talking sports, even though the weather outside up here in Connecticut's fucking shitty. That's a sentence you hear me say all the time. Also, we have another guest coming in soon. Mr. Zach Mack of What's Up Belly Up will be joining us in a while as well. We got a big show for you guys today. Of course, the show is brought to you by our great friends at YeatsOfficial.com. You want great shades like these? Promo code Corner Booth for 10% off. They have over 25 styles now. I own 3 of them. I think I got another pair here, one in my car, and I think I want one upstairs as well. And I have to send still send a pair to Frank. I promised it to him 2 weeks ago. But either way, promo code Corner Booth for 10% off. They are our favorite and longest running sponsor. We appreciate them. Corner Booth, 10% off. All right, folks. These handsome gentlemen joining me today are Brad from the great Bears leaning show Unbearable Sports. You can find him on YouTube at Unbearable Sports, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the whole shebang. And this handsome gentleman nursing a 15-day hangover he's only halfway through of Barstool New Orleans fame and the Oxcord podcast. One of my oldest and closest friends here in the podcast industry, Mr. Cruz Oxenrider. But guys, how you doing?
I'm tired. I got back into town yesterday. As most of you who follow me on social media know, I was in New Orleans for the Final Four and had a fantastic time. And I learned I'm not 21 anymore, and it's hard. It's really hard. And I got home. Let's see, I left New Orleans around 8 a.m. Got home around 5 p.m. and then recorded my podcast last night, and then woke up this morning and I had a podcast interview with SEC Network's very own Patrick Young. You can find that up on mine. Shameless plug for the Oxford podcast. The new episode should be out any minute now. And but got a chance to interview Patrick, and I am catching up on some sleep. So I'm asleep for about 72 hours straight this weekend.
Now, is the lady hurting as much as you? Because I saw her going out just as long as you were this weekend.
She was a trooper. She was working her job as well. She was a trooper. She is probably just as tired, if not more, because she had to deal with my shenanigans in New Orleans. And you know that New Orleans is my favorite place in the world. So, yeah, she was a trooper, though.
I think some of my funnest moments, and I know we could talk for hours about your experience. I mean, if you haven't followed Cruz on social media, I was living vicariously through him because my Tar Heels were in the Final Four, and the Duke UNC game may have been the greatest college basketball game I've watched in, I don't know, 10 years. It's funny, the last 4 great college basketball games I've watched, except for UCLA, Gonzaga, all involve my Tar Heels. Well, yeah, no. Duke UNC, I think like 10 years ago when Austin Rivers hit the jumper. Then you have Duke UNC Final Four, Villanova UNC, and then you have UNC Kansas. It's like I just can't get it. My boys are just giving me a coronary every time I watch them.
No, it was fantastic basketball. Obviously, we didn't have a dog in the fight. We just went. Got lucky enough to the main game I really want to go to is Duke UNC. So like being able to go to that was the lifetime experience. Best college basketball game I've ever been to live. Like no questions. Even the championship game, as amazing being in there in person as it was, seeing Kansas win it all, but like being there for like UNC Duke, first time ever meeting in March in the tournament. Coach K's last ever game. UNC was I mean, they weren't supposed to be there as an 8 seed.
I did say something about that on your show, though.
I know. You got it right. I give you major props for it. You called it. But, like, being a first-year coach, your team was supposed to ball out the next year, not this year. So, like, this was a great building block for UNC, building to the future, giving UNC a very good outlook. And it had everything. Like, you weren't comfortable the entire game. Like, I couldn't sit still. I felt like I was standing up every, like, 15 seconds because a big three was hit or like an and one was made. And I would say I've been to a lot of playoff games and championship moments and just games like that. That's probably, it's for sure top 5 and it might crack top 3.
I think that Colby Love shot is still one of the greatest jumpers it gave me like Kobe's sons vibes. I'm not comparing to Kobe, but I'm like, dude, that like was like I just watched. I saw the collective oxygen in the arena just shake when like that shot went in. I was like, holy, like even like the cameras.
It shook the Superdome like a Saints game.
And I thought if I had when he shot it against Kansas, I'm like, there's no way this goes 2 for 2. I could even tell by the arc off the release it wasn't going in. But I'm like, if he hits this again, this kid's a tournament legend because he just stuck a dagger he just hit 2 insane clutch shots from the same spot. But that was an incredible tournament. All the Barstool stuff you were getting into with the Raising Canes, with seeing Big Cat and Marty Mush, that shit was great. I loved watching that shit.
It was fun. I got the opportunity this week to work with Barstool Sports and Barstool NOLA. Huge shout out. If you guys don't already, go follow Barstool NOLA on Twitter. Getting bigger every day. We're getting close to being the 4th biggest city account already. This is a short amount of time. So we're getting ready to pass Atlanta probably next month. Very excited about that. Me hating
and not just football, folks.
Exactly. Not just football, on Twitter as well. So that was great. Got a chance to work the radio show, the live show on Friday and Monday. Got a chance to meet all the big names. And then I got to do Hawks for the Cause, which was that amazing barbecue charity tournament. I got to meet T-Bob, which he's a fantastic former LSU player. He's now a radio host. I got to meet Nick Mangold from the Jets. I got to meet Tyler Hansborough, which was probably one of the cooler things I got to do.
How is he in person?
He's so country. It's hilarious. He's so country.
That does not surprise me whatsoever.
I didn't realize that. I've never heard him speak before, and it sounded like he's from Iowa. Like he's like very country.
He's from Indiana, so
now that makes so much sense now. So got to meet them. And then of course I got to meet. I got really fortunate enough to meet Dave, El Prez. I got to meet Big Cat, PFG, Hank, Marty Mush, all those guys. Mincy is one of the best people I've ever met. So it's still kind of like humbling that I get to do this stuff now. But this weekend was a one of a kind experience. Got to do the Anheuser-Busch party right before the Superdome. I got to meet Trey Wingo, which I posted a picture of that. Trey Wingo is the man.
What's he doing? He's an odds maker now, right? That's what he's doing now?
I'm not sure. But Trey was probably one of the cooler people I got to meet in the industry. I will say this. I briefly met Anthony Mackie, Falcon. Not a fan. I'm glad
Captain America now.
Glad Thanos snapped him. He deserved it.
He's a prick?
But there's a reason why Eminem schooled him in 8 Mile. And there's a reason Thanos snapped him. I'm just going to leave it at that. So he was not my favorite person in the world. But yes, it was an incredible weekend. Huge shout out to Boo Crew Media. Huge shout out to Barstool Sports for making that happen for me. And then can't wait to go back. I think the next time I'll be back in New Orleans is either probably Saints football. Or no, Labor Day weekend I'll be there for Florida State LSU. I'll be working in that.
That game sounds incredible.
It's gonna be a good one.
I'm hopefully going back to New Orleans. I think around my birthday next year. I think that's the goal.
Yeah, enough about me.
I live in Wisconsin.
But
I mean, listen, you got isn't the biggest beer and cheese fest up there in the October every year or whatever it is.
Oh, that's just every single day.
No, but one of my college roommates was from the same town as JJ Watt, and he was telling me he's like, there's a ridiculous festival about it. He was describing it to me, and I was just getting agitated thinking about it.
It's such a huge German population here that it's just Oktoberfest anytime that you can celebrate. Because they celebrate Oktoberfest up here and everything. So
nice.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome.
That's on the bucket list is go to Oktoberfest. And an actual Germany. Yeah. That's on the bucket list. My last name is Oxenreiter, obviously, so I think it's only right once before I die to go to Oktoberfest in Germany.
I mean, at least in my friends and family and group, I grew up in a very Nordic, Polish kind of a little bit of Italian family, but we still got a little Oktoberfest. And the thing was last week we did a pig rotisserie, and that was some shit, man. You want to talk about fresh smoked pork? That is some shit, man. Woo! But I don't know if I want to go. I do want to at least see Oktoberfest at least once. It fly out. I'm not really big on traveling overseas. Definitely, I want to see the rest of the United States first. I'm kind of weird like that. I want to see. I got to see New Orleans for the first time when I was 22, and I was blown away. So now, I want to go experience South Beach. I want to experience Los Angeles. I can skip the Northwest, guys. Don't give two fucks about that whole area of the country. But I'll go. I want to go see Chicago. I want to see I want to I want to see Indianapolis. I want to see all the 8,500. I want to see all this crazy shit. I want to see all the stuff that makes America awesome in sports, especially. But boys, first off, the NBA playoffs is basically locked in. Cruz, congrats. Your Miami Heat are looking like a solid Eastern Conference favorite. And Brad, are you a Bulls fan as well? Are you all Chicago sweep here?
That is correct. Bulls fan.
Dude, your team's riding pretty high too. And guys, even better, my Timberwolves are a playoff team. The sky is falling.
It's I'm actually happy for you about that. Karl Anthony Towns has finally figured it out.
And Anthony Edwards is just getting scarier and scarier.
He is. He really is.
That boy's a freak. But listen, the best part about all this is, guys, LeBron didn't make the playoffs.
No, the best part about it is that LeBron didn't make the playoffs, and the Pelicans get their lottery pick,
which is fucking amazing.
Oh, seriously?
Yes. So right now, I think I saw the odds have it at least being a top 3 pick. So they can either get Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga, which I still don't see.
Slender man here.
I don't see it. I think if they're going to take anyone, it should be Jabari Smith at Auburn. I think with CJ,
that was my thought too.
Yeah, you pair him with Kyra Lewis, Zion coming back next year, Jackson Hayes, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones. Dude, they're a deep team. I'm gonna say this right now. If the Pels win their playing game, they will win a playoff series this year. Calling it right now in the West. Wow. Depending on who they get matched up against, as long as it's not against Golden State or Phoenix, I think they will win a playoff series
this year.
Yeah, Phoenix is winning it all. That's what I.
Yeah,
Golden State's winning the West.
Clay West,
Clay is back and Steph is back.
No, Steph is back, but also we found the one thing that could beat Steph. It's Devin Booker, who is like Steph but can dunk.
You make good points. You do make good points. I will say this. I really think, because I don't know if you saw Klay Thompson the other night go off. He could not miss if he tried. It was scary. That's vintage Klay. And if vintage Klay is back and Steph is back and Draymond's good and they're transitioning, they're hitting all these threes, it's it is what it is. Like, I'm taking Golden State over Phoenix in a 7-game series if I have a healthy
All right.
Golden State or a healthy Phoenix.
So
I think
Golden
Phoenix's one shot was last year. They had everything lined up for them perfectly. If they were going to win a title, it would have been last year.
So Golden State, and the fact that the Lakers still couldn't make the playoffs when the Spurs have 34 wins is just embarrassing. Or at least a play-in game. That's fucking terrible. The same, if all things considered and play-in games go according to plan, Phoenix would get the Clippers or the Pelicans. I think the Clippers only because they somehow, no star players, they win games. I don't get how they do it, but they do it. Then Minnesota, who has owned San Antonio all year. I just asked Karl Anthony Towns when he dropped like almost 60 points on, or over 60 points on him, or whatever it was. So you're getting them versus Memphis, who those two teams have battled it out all year. It's going to be close. I think Memphis gets the win over Minnesota, which would break my heart, but it's going to be a lot more competitive than it was when we made the playoffs last time against Jimmy, when Jimmy Butler was our star player. But Golden State would get Denver. And Denver, if I'm not mistaken, is getting a lot of their guys back healthy, along with their MVP Jokic. I'm not saying they're going to lose to the Nuggets, man, but they're going to get some tread knocked off those tires in that series. It's like there's no easy road to the playoffs. The only team who's going to have easy road is Phoenix, because they're going to smoke whoever comes out of that first play-in game, and then they're going to get. I think if they get the lowest, is it lowest possible seed they get afterward? Is it like the NFL?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So at best case, they get Minnesota if they somehow knock off Memphis. At worst case, they get Dallas. So they're going to have a little easier road, but Minnesota, Phoenix were all good games this year too. The West is a lot. There's no dominant team in basketball anymore, which, God, it's like my childhood. I'm loving the NBA again.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably the most wide open the West has been in a long time, because the Warriors ruined the Western Conference for years. And
sure.
And it was always like the East was be like, all right, well, we knew it was going to be Cleveland or whatever team LeBron, or the Heat, whatever team LeBron was on. So this is like the most exciting NBA playoffs I can remember in a while, because like last year it was kind of weird because teams were like kind of figuring out like post-COVID, who's legit, who's not.
Yeah.
And well, I think this is the first year where it's like, I don't know who's going to win. Right now, if I had to pick two teams to go, I'm picking Golden State versus Miami. That's my finals prediction right now. I think Miami's coming on at the right time. I think everyone's healthy. Tyler Hero is going to win Sixth Man of the Year. I think Bam is going to make first team all defense. I think Jimmy is embracing that role. Kyle Lowry is coming in hot. And I just like what this team is doing. Now, on the other hand, Golden State, if they're healthy, I think they're the best team in the West. And I love Memphis, and I think they're a year away. I really think that.
Yeah.
I think they're like Golden State, where they were like, hey, like not this year. We're gonna win a playoff series, but next year, like, look out. And then with Phoenix, I think they just caught lightning in a bottle last year. And I think that if they were gonna win it, last year was their year. But Milwaukee was just unstoppable. Now, I will say, I don't think Denver is a championship team. I think they can win a playoff series, probably two, but like I'm not picking Denver to win an NBA championship.
I wouldn't either. I'm just saying they're going to be annoying. They're that team that's going to be like 7 games to put away. They're not going to win a damn title, but they're going to make it irritating for you to get through it.
Absolutely.
That was my one point. I think what we talked. I think both of you guys both said this already, but my biggest thing is that in both conferences, there's no easy win series except for maybe Phoenix versus whoever wins that 9-10 playoff playing game.
I'm telling you, I would not want to play a healthy New Orleans right now, because ever since they got CJ McCollum, they've been shooting the lights out
in a 7-game series.
In a 7-game series, I think if they walked into that series like hockey, I think New Orleans would be that team who could punch them out. Like, look, we've seen an 8 seed beat a 1 seed before.
Yeah, but that was like a very heavy front-loaded Dirk Nowitzki led
Yeah.
Dallas.
Who could shoot the lights out of the building?
I know, but the problem is that offense was so poorly built, and you could have seen that coming to the playoffs. Like Dirk they were almost too good getting into the playoffs. That was the year after they lost to the Heat in the finals. Dirk was on fire, and we all thought Dallas was going to steamroll everyone. And then Baron Davis and the We Believe Warriors gave one of the best dunks I've ever seen on Andre Kirilenko.
Beautiful.
But then, two, you also get one of the greatest sports moments of all time, watching them knock off. I think it was the first time in modern NBA history a 1 seed got knocked off.
Yeah.
So I was like blown away by it. But this year, the problem is with Houston, not Houston, Wolf, Phoenix. They are such a well-balanced team. I don't understand how you straight up. They're like Miami, and I guess if I was really gonna pick a team, like two teams, I'm going with my boy Frank Michael Smith here. He said it on his show already. He goes, "Give me Phoenix, give me Miami." I'm like, I'm taking those two teams as well. Give me the spring training teams. I am just not about. Oh man, I am not about anything else but just saying, you know what? Listen, just go with the favorites. And listen, I love Chicago. I'd love Chicago to make a run.
Yeah.
But the bench scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was looking through everything and I'm like, I don't want to go basic. I don't want to go 1-1.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this. I live just super close to Milwaukee and a lot of friends that are Bucks fans. It just doesn't seem like they're going to come back and win it. And also, yeah, the Bulls, I think that they're a year away. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we're seeing someone like the Bulls and also having the Memphis Grizzlies as the number 1 seeds next year. I firmly think that that's going to happen. Without Lonzo, I don't think that the Bulls are going to be able to make a playoff push. They've been losing so many games going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's all Bulls fans are already kind of like, yeah, we're in the playoffs already. Or we're in the playoffs.
It's like, we're not used to this. Since Derrick Rose was here.
Yeah, first time in a while. And I will say this, I'm actually happy for Lonzo for having a rejuvenation. I never felt like he fit in New Orleans, but it seems like he found something in Chicago, and I'm happy for him.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I love that, there's two Ball brothers that are actually playing, decent. Listen, LaMelo is great. I had a AJ from Sac City on last week, and I said this, I'm like, listen, I think LaMelo Ball is going to be what we all thought Penny Hardaway could be if his career goes the trajectory it should be. I think the 2020 NBA draft is going to be one of those drafts because you're going to have Anthony Edwards, who has a ceiling we can't even see yet. LaMelo Ball, who could be the next Penny Hardaway, hopefully not without the injuries. And James Wiseman, who is becoming one of the better big guys in the league. He's slowly rising up the rankings. And he's not going the way of with the ways like Marvin Bagley and Jahlil Okafor, where these guys with a lot of talent just burn out. He's actually getting the right situation for him to succeed, like guys like Towns did and guys like DeAndre Ayton down in Phoenix and Hassan Whiteside down in Miami. These guys are getting the correct way.
Did you just say Whiteside?
Yes, Whiteside. I know he's not in Miami anymore. Bam Adebayo now, but
dude, Hassan Whiteside is the biggest bust we've.
I know.
I will give him this. He got his money, and I'm glad we shipped his ass off to Portland or wherever he is now.
Well, I will say, because of your comment, we are talking about Steph, but one thing I'm going to say, boys, is we are about 1 year and a weird free agency away from a possibility of the 3 of the top 4 seeds in the West next year being Memphis, Minnesota, and freaking New Orleans.
Yep.
The NBA's worst nightmare.
Oh my God. Do you understand the amount of hate the national media will have if New Orleans is a basketball city?
Dude,
it's not good because
a
we're a
cold
smaller
weather
market
city
team.
okay, so you're gonna tell me they're gonna like that, they're gonna wrap their arms around John Morant because they're not it's like you either get the boys up north with D'Lo, who basically has the demeanor of a high school stoner. You have Cat, who is finally turning into baby Garnett, which we all thought he was going to be a better jumper. He's an animal. I love him. Whatever clicked in his head in December, I want some of that secret sauce, whatever it is, whatever he started taking. And then Anthony Edwards, who Pat Bev, who God bless that man. He is the reason Minnesota is a playoff team. He's the motor of that offense. And the fact we locked him up for another year or two is a great thing. But he said Anthony Edwards has like Jordan tendencies, which, yes, that's stretching it. But as a Timberwolves fan has been suffering for so long, it's optimism. I'll take it.
Dude, I want to believe because like I remember in college, my buddies and I, we always played in 2K as the T-Wolves because you had Ricky Rubio, you had Wiggins, Derek Williams.
Yo, Derek Williams can ball. I don't want to hear any slander, but the problem is he just got fucked everywhere he went.
We loved them because like we're like they have all this potential, and like in a year the T-Wolves were like the best team in 2K, and I want to believe, man. I want to believe, but I don't want to get burned again.
There's one man in one ownership group you have to thank for this, on top of Rosas, our GM, and our new head coach, who is an Eagles fan, by the way. God bless. He's from Eastern Pennsylvania, which is great. But he's also a Sixers fan, which I gotta slant him for. But like, he grew up a Sixers fan. But one thing I gotta say with this team is once Glenn Taylor sold the team, it was like a curse was lifted off of us. The same team who said Kurt Rambis was a better coach for us than Flip Saunders, the same guy who told Kevin McHale, who was the GM who got us Garnett, Sprewell, and Cassell to go kick rocks, is gone. Now we have A-Rod and his ownership group, who have done nothing since they took over, but succeed.
Hey, maybe that's all they needed was not to change anything. Maybe just leave it alone.
Just get rid of Glenn Taylor. Seriously, that man is one of the worst owners in sports that nobody talks about.
I think, he's definitely got to be up there. I also think, what I like about Minnesota is that Minnesota fans are loyal. And they needed something to cheer about, and I think finally that they put it all together. I mean, it's like the NBA is like a matter of stretches, where it's like you have the blue bloods of the NBA. Like you're always going to have the Lakers, you're always going to have the Bulls, you're always going to have the Celtics, you're always going to have the Warriors and the Heat. They're always going to be those. But like I love seeing the small market teams, like the Minnesota, the New Orleans, who's another one? Like even when the Magic were good. Remember, like Dwight Howard? They made the Eastern Conference.
Rashard Lewis, Dwight. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good team. No,
Yeah, if they didn't run in the Kobe and the Lakers, like they probably would have won.
If they played Carmelo and Denver, who were basically a couple bad jumpers away from winning that series. Yeah,
and this is a take of mine. I think it's absolutely criminal that the Phoenix Suns in the 2000s did not win an NBA championship.
It's because Mike D'Antoni's system does not believe in anything called defense.
It's called they couldn't win in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Defense wins in the playoffs. It's shown for years. It doesn't matter how.
I love Steve Nash.
It's called, can you make a stop when you need to like take momentum back? You can go back as far as LeBron getting the block on Iggy, like Kawhi locking up LeBron and Wade in that finals in 2014. Like you have these guys who have always just had the ability to stop the ball. And it doesn't matter until the end of the series when you need a guy to make a stop. And I don't think anybody on that Phoenix team, except for Sean Marion, his wonky jump shot, knew how to make a stop.
Stoudemire could play D.
Stoudemire could play a little D. The only defense he played in New York was punching a freaking fire extinguisher box.
Steve Nash could steal the ball, though. But on-ball defense, he could not play. I give you that.
UC Santa Barbara or Santa Clara, whatever the fuck he played at. All right, we got to move on. We talked NBA for almost a half hour. That's a new record on my show.
You're welcome.
There you go, Cruz. All right, quick headlines. Besides the Lakers missing the playoffs, God bless. Some guy was made fun of by BetMGM on Twitter about, say 8 months ago, whenever the NBA started, 6 months ago. He put 10 grand down on a plus 1,600 bet for the Lakers to miss the playoffs. Well, gents, that man just cashed in 160 grand. He's laughing all the way to the bank right now.
He's from the future.
it always bet against Russell Westbrook. I like it,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like when you think about it, Russell Westbrook is the 2K create a player guy where you just run around with your guy, you pick up every single rebound, you just chuck up shots, and your assist, quote unquote, are you drove to the hoop and you see somebody and like
You kick
you're
it.
just passing
Kick it
it.
out.
Yeah, you're just like, I need to get a trip dub. And then you have LeBron where he's like, yeah, that's not going to fly here. And it makes sense. And then AD, I don't even know why. Like, what's his injury? Like, is it severe? Is it just he's not
the guy
playing
from
through stuff?
SpongeBob.
He's got triple B syndrome, baby back bitch syndrome. He is.
He is the guy from SpongeBob. Paper, skin, glass, bones. That's what it is. That's like, listen, like, it's so funny. Like, I grew up, like, I'm an Eagles fan. Carson Wentz, who is the same injury condition, except he didn't. I see Anthony Davis. I'm like, how's this guy not labeled as the most injury-prone big man of all time besides Greg Oden? I have never seen him play a full season.
He's never played a full season.
It's
actually.
10
Even when he was
fucking
in the
years.
Pels, when he was in the Pels, he never played a full season. Now, granted, when he was healthy and he was available, he was dominant. He was so much fun to watch. He was a walking double-double. But like, here's the thing: as someone who supports New Orleans sports, and the Pels are, I've always rooted for the Pelicans and the Hornets when they're there. But it's very known that I'm a Heat guy. But the way he handled the New Orleans situation makes me very happy that he's unhappy in LA. Yeah, he got a Mickey Mouse championship in 2020, but let's be real.
It's like the Dodgers. It's like the Dodgers World Series. It doesn't fucking count.
No, look, I'm a Rays fan through and through, and it wouldn't matter if we would have played in the O-Dome or anything. We would have.
You failed the baseball gods, Cruz.
I did. I'm sorry. The Dodgers were the better team that year. They were look. If we would have played the Braves, if the Braves would have blown a 3-1 game lead to the Dodgers, the Braves would be World Series champs. Because we're used to playing without fans. We're used to empty stadiums. So it wasn't a big deal.
Guys, I just found I still follow Travis Fulgham on Twitter. Is that weird?
Is it weird that I don't know who that is?
He was the Eagles receiver from 2020 who like lit it up for like 10 weeks because he was like Carson's #1 target.
Oh, right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I thought it was.
I completely forgot I followed him on Twitter, and then he got lazy, thought he was the guaranteed #1 receiver this year for Philadelphia. Then Quez Watkins became a thing, and he got cut.
So, are we gonna address the elephant in the room, Jared?
Just say it.
The fact that we are trade buddies now. We're trading.
I know, and you know what the best part is? Both teams won.
I couldn't agree. I actually really do think both teams won.
I said this on Tuesday. I don't think like everyone's saying like New Orleans got fleeced. I'm like, no, y'all got what you needed. Y'all got what you needed. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The thing is with Philadelphia is in a weird spot. They have a guy who's a top 20 in the league quarterback. He's the better half of the league, but he needs to make that jump to be in the top 12. And we could easily, with our roster, make a run, especially in the NFC, which is so like
the NFC East. You guys should win easy.
By the way, Cruz, I might take a futures bet because you're my good luck charm with futures bets. Apparently, I may bet the Cowboys to miss the playoffs today because,
I think they'll make a wild card.
I don't know because
the NFC is very weak this year.
Their draft is going to tell me. Their draft is going to tell me a lot about this team this year because they got worse on defense and on offense. And they stayed the same on special teams.
So I don't hate that. Now, granted, like I would take that not to win the NFC East. I think they could still sneak it in the wild card. It depends. It depends if CeeDee Lamb steps up as that #2 guy, and it depends what they do in the draft. Because I think they're probably going to go get Nakobe Dean out of Georgia or Jordan Davis for defensive tackle because they really need to bolster up their defense. I think they might try and trade up and possibly get Derek Stingley to pair with Diggs. I think that would be a really good move for him.
Oh, great. 2 corners to get smoked on the regular.
Derek Stingley is the best corner in the draft. It's not Sauce. No, it's not Sauce.
Really? Okay.
It's not Sauce.
By the way, played great against your Crimson Tide. I want you to realize.
No. Listen, actually, that's not even remotely true. You know why? Because we ran the ball for 300 yards that game. We barely threw. We didn't have to throw.
The linebacking
and then guess what?
All our size.
Yeah, so we ran the ball very effectively, and we didn't have to. But I'm sorry, I'm taking Jameson Williams over Sauce Gardner any day of the week.
Okay, so here's the thing: yeah, Jameson Williams is gotta be like. The thing is, I love Jameson Williams, but for my offense, so I'm taking a receiver. I want Treylon Burks. I love his tape.
Yes, he fits your
This
team.
This dude is giving me major Des Bryant vibes, and it's getting me really excited.
Said the exact same thing. I think
We're both smart human beings.
Yes, I looked at the trade. It's so like I didn't really get the process. So I was working the Barstool show when the trade went down. So I just saw trade and I saw Eagles and I saw what was going on. I was like, what did we do? Who did we just get? I had no idea what was going on. So I think it's a win for us this year because one, we need to address left tackle and wide receiver. We have 4 picks in the top 100, and the Eagles don't need a quarterback. The Saints don't need a quarterback right now. I can honestly say they are not going to trade up to get Malik Willis. They're not going to trade up to get Kenny Pickett. They're not going to trade up to get Matt Corral. I know this, and unless one of them falls in the second round or late first, they are not coming up to get one of those guys. Now, if Malik Willis falls to 19, you take him. It's not going to happen.
Well, the problem is there's one team behind you. I think Steelers are at 20, right?
Steelers are 20 and the Patriots. No. Patriots are 20. Green Bay's 21.
The one team that would scare me if I'm New Orleans is Pittsburgh because apparently Mike Tomlin is infatuated with Malik Willis. Okay, that was the word I heard. Infatuated. But
no, he probably was. But I think
I will say this about the trade, though. Why I love it is one, the Eagles now can basically say, if Hurts doesn't make the leap, we move on.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost us anything. And next year you have your boy Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, my boy Tyler Van Dyke possibly, and possibly another 2 quarterbacks that we haven't even heard of yet.
Yeah. And then get this. So, and this is what I really love. So I heard this.
And
today.
you guys get ammunition.
So here's what I love. And this is what I would do if we sign Jameis. I fully believe we're committed to Jameis. I want to be fully committed to Jameis. So it's like we need to stop. So I am all for our first 2 picks in the first round. I want Jameson Williams at 16 to pair with Michael Thomas. I want Jameson Williams or Chris Olave, one of those 2, to pair with Michael Thomas. At pick number 2, I want Penning out of Northern Iowa at left tackle. Replace Armstead. He'll be there at 19 unless someone trades up to get him.
Oh, he will. I just did a mock draft this morning. Yeah. I don't see any way he goes that high.
Round 2 is a big one for us. So I think we go wide receiver again, and we go get George Pickens out of Georgia, or we go get Watkins out of North Dakota State, or if Mechie is still there, I think Mechie would be a great spot.
Mechie, his highest one I've seen so far, Mechie, the highest he's gone is end of second round.
Yeah. Round 3, I think we need to address interior defense. So I think Phil Malthus. I like the Butler kid out of Tennessee. Or do we go tight end? There's some good tight ends in the draft this year. I really like the kid out of Colorado State, and I like the kid out of Wisconsin. I like the kid out of so I like him. And then at round 4, I think we add a power back. I think we either get the kid out of Notre Dame in Keelan Williams, or we get Brian Robinson out of Bama, who's a power guy, who's going to be he's like Mark Ingram. This is Mark Ingram's last year. I think he would be a great spell back for Kamara when he comes back from suspension. Mm-hmm. Which we don't know what that is yet, but you're giving Jameis 2 receivers, a lineman, a tight end, and a running back to add to him. Be like, hey, we're fully committed to you. Our defense is already loaded. In fact, and I know the Eagles and the Saints are probably going to have to battle for Tyrann Mathieu, but like this defense is ready to win now. Yeah. And I truly feel like we can win the NFC South and we can make a run at the NFC. Because they have that much faith in the talent we have around us. So I love this pick, and I love it for y'all. And then here's the conspiracy theory. Sean Payton, we know what's going to happen next year. Sean Payton is going to come out of retirement. Someone is going to have to pick up the phone and call the New Orleans Saints and offer us a draft pick to get Sean Payton. That's how that works.
I can tell you which team that's going to be.
And
they're in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
They're run by a guy who says, "How about them Cowboys?" And their
Same thing.
quarterback was called the Black Kirk Cousins last
Yeah,
season.
and it's not the first time it's happened. We've seen it happen with John Gruden in Tampa Bay and the Raiders. So like it can happen. So they're going to have to call, and they're going to have to at least give us a first round.
You're
pick,
saying
if not
draft
more.
day this is going down.
This is no. That's next year. So like
Oh, next
next
year.
year.
You're not
Okay.
even talking. Okay, so
no. So
wait,
the
how
two
long
picks
is
for
the
this.
retention?
So that whole list I gave you, the players, that's for this year. Next year, because we don't have our first round pick, we'll recoup that when the Cowboys have to try and
So how-
trade for Sean Payton.
Okay,
So
so is Peyton's retention 2 years or is 3 years?
it's 2. Because
Okay,
that's the duration left in his contract.
I didn't know how that worked with coaches. Brad, I feel like we're leaving you out here. You're
Sorry.
Bears.
Oh.
You're Bears. I want to know what the fuck they're doing in the draft because you guys are in a weird position where the NFC North, everybody got worse. You guys
yeah.
are in a unique position where you guys stayed even keel. Oh no, actually,
sure.
I'm sorry. Motor City Dan Campbell, brother. He got better.
Hey,
And the Lions are on Hard Knocks, which is the greatest thing I have heard in 10 years.
that's the biggest win they've had in a decade.
Cruz, you know how much
Yeah.
I love Motor City Dan Campbell. I want him to but listen, the Bears, the Vikings got worse. They got older. The fucking Packers got worse.
Mhm.
And the Bears are sitting there like, we gave up Khalil Mack, we got picks back. Like, fuck, we're in good, boys.
Yeah.
And he didn't even play really last year. He was banged up with his broken
5 games he played?
Yeah, it was like 7, but he was like it was like week 3, week 4 he basically broke his foot, so he wasn't able to play a lot. And honestly, it's like I feel good with the NFC even though that we're not really adding a lot. No offense, Cruz. I don't know what New Orleans is going to do without Sean Payton. I think that he's been the glue with that team, and now you don't have that. Like he's been an insane coach, and now it's like what happens? And I think that's going to really show like what does New Orleans end up doing because it could fall off because you got Jameis, you got crab stealing legs himself.
If it wasn't for Dennis Allen being there for 6 years and the organization having enough faith and Sean Payton having enough faith to make him that head coach, I would completely agree with you. I think because they had the chance to hire Eric Bieniemy and they felt more comfortable hiring Dennis Allen than Eric Bieniemy or Brian Flores. And I truly believe if he hadn't been in this organization, and plus not to mention, people forget, Dennis Allen took a Saints team led by Taysom Hill and had multiple players out to Tampa Bay and beat Tom Brady in a fully loaded Bucs team. This guy can coach. Everyone's giving him crap about the Raiders. Everyone's giving him crap about the Raiders because, that was when the Raiders were winning maybe 2 games a year and he had to deal with like Jamarcus Russell and Terrell Pryor as your quarterback. So like,
no, that was the Terrell Pryor year. It wasn't even Jamarcus Russell.
Well, no, I'm just saying like that's like the consistency of like what they've had to deal with.
That was the end of the Al Davis lifetime Raiders.
So, I am fully on board with Dennis Allen as a personality. The players vouch for him to be the coach. We kept our coaching staff together as far as our offensive coordinator goes, our special teams. Me personally, but I love where you're coming from it. I'm actually really excited what the Bears are doing with their coach and their general manager.
Yeah, and so damn, I hope that we'll see what the Saints do, but with the Bears though, like it's what a lot of Bears fans don't like right now is that they're really kind of staying put. As you guys probably saw, like they're adding like Lucas Patrick, they're adding kind of these no-name types of players, Byron Pringle, and I think what they're really trying to do is they're trying to load up for next year. After that Khalil Mack trade, I hate saying like obviously every coach wants to win games, but you see they have so much cap space next year. They're really getting just 2-year deals on people. So if they want to cut someone, they can cut someone. And I think in the draft though, you said it with Pickens though, Cruz, like Pickens is a very interesting guy because you have this guy who was really like the number one, kind of like a Stingley, the number one prospect coming out and then gets banged up, just doesn't play as well, and now is dropping like crazy. And he's got the speed, he's got the big playability that the Bears really need. And a lot of the players that the Bears lost, like Allen Robinson, did nothing. Did absolutely nothing.
God, he was even on the active roster for half the season.
Right? Because all that Nagy was doing was Matt Nagy was calling, he ran the most amount of curl routes out of any other wide receiver. And he was pissed. Like you would see when they would run the football, Allen Robinson would just literally stop blocking and just start walking.
Yeah.
Like he gave up
He wore it
during the
out.
season. And it's like, I get it. Because Mooney was really that number one. So you lose Allen Robinson, who did nothing last year. You lose Khalil Mack, who was banged up. And you're really kind of just swapping some people out. It's going to be interesting because it all hedges on Fields. And I think that's really what it comes down to. If Fields can take that next step as the leader, as that person, I think that this team is not a contender, but at least someone that could make the playoffs and then the following year reload and then become a contender.
They're last year's Philadelphia Eagles.
I like that. Because
I think
it's all about the quarterback.
Yeah, Justin Fields, if he can, first of all, I loved your video with him and Jersey Jerry. I loved your video, Brad, by the way. Because here's the problem.
Sorry.
Like those I've been to one of those fucking events before for my old job. Those events suck, okay, for everybody.
Yeah.
Those events are bullshit. And any kind of professional athlete there, I feel bad for them. They're doing it for some good karma. They're doing it because they're getting paid a shit ton of money, but they don't want to be there. They know it's an easy paycheck, and they know they're literally there. And I guarantee where Jersey Jerry saw him was backdoor. I know Cruz, one of your coworkers, technically.
Yeah.
But I will say this about Justin Fields and the Bears, right? One, who do you hate more, honestly, as a Bears fan? Bears Nation. Do they hate Allen Robinson or Matt Nagy more? Because I feel like the two of them are both toxic, but I feel like Allen Robinson had more victim and Matt Nagy has just the intelligence of a potato. So that's how I feel at this point. I mean, I'm an outsider looking in.
Yeah, Matt Nagy 100%, because this is how Bears Twitter is. I posted because someone was saying just how terrible of a coach Matt Nagy is and just how he's everybody just hates Matt Nagy. And I was like, the sad part is he's been the best coach for the Chicago Bears in a decade, because we had John Fox, who did nothing. We had Mark Trestman, who did nothing.
Ooh.
He is the third or fourth most he's a top 5 coach for the Bears, because you have Hallis, you have Lovie Smith, you have Dicka, and then you have Nagy. Nagy is literally the fourth best head coach. And it's just like, we absolutely hate him right now because honestly, just the offense fell off. It was his offense. So a lot of fans are blaming, we had this defense and you did nothing because this offense wasn't great. Listen, Trubisky, we talked about the Steelers. To me, Trubisky, he's shown he's a one read guy. You keep it simple. I think it was something crazy, like 87% of his throws went to the first read. The dude does not look at second or anything like that. So that's why, to me, like Allen Robinson, people hated him during the season because he gave up. But towards the end, we're like, can we just re-sign him? Because there's no number one wide receivers in free agency.
Look, I've seen Allen Robinson ball out with Blake Bortles as a quarterback. It's not him. I'm saying he really did. He had Marquise Lee, he had Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns, like that. It's not Allen Robinson. In fact, I would love to have Allen Robinson on my team. And LA got a great guy.
I was like, I'll take him all day.
I think Matt Nagy I just think, one, I don't think Justin Fields is ready for the NFL. I think he got thrown into the fire. I don't think he was ready. I think he was probably, him and Trey Lance were the least ready. Like I would have, I think
they both should have gotten the Mahomes treatment where they got.
I think he should have too. And unfortunately, he didn't have an Alex Smith to sit in front of, and he kind of got thrown into the fire. But I just think Justin was put in a basket. I think Justin's going to be a great quarterback. I think he's got the body, he's got the build. My only worry is that like his confidence is just going to get rocked. Like that's what I worry about Trevor. If Doug Peterson can't turn it around, like he's going to be a head case.
Listen, old Dougie can figure it out. Okay, that visor is magical.
Look, I like what Jacksonville's doing, and I like Doug Peterson. In fact, I actually like the Doug Peterson hire more than I would have liked the Brian Leftwich hire. But I think Chicago needs to seriously address playmaking. Like, where are you guys picking this year?
39. 39 is the
We don't
first
have a
pick.
first
The
round pick.
seventh
They
pick.
lost a pick to the Giants.
We traded it for Fields. So we got 2 seconds though this year.
So if you have 2 seconds, I mean there's a ton of great day 2 talent in wide receiver. Like Pickens is a guy, Watkins is a guy, Mechie, Ross from Clemson, the kid David Bell out of Purdue. I mean, I even think there could be a wide receiver who could kind of pop out of nowhere and steal some of it. So I think Chicago just really needs to invest in weapons for Fields. I mean, if there was a way you could trade up in the first round and get an Olave because he's got rapport with Olave and Garrett Wilson, but I think Garrett Wilson is going to be the first receiver taken off the board. I really do.
I do too.
I think Drake London is a name I've heard slipping.
I just don't like Drake London's tape. I hate his tape.
I've been hearing he's probably going to slip. So Burks is moving up. London's sliding back. Jameson and Olave are kind of holding still in those teens. And I think if Jameson wouldn't have got hurt in the national championship, he would be the first off the board and it wouldn't even be a debate. So with Pickens, I like him if he can actually put it all together. Because
even Doxson too, I like as well, out of PSU.
I think so too. So I mean, I think the first 2 picks for the Bears should be wide receivers, 100%, nothing else.
Hey, listen, I got some homework for y'all. We all talked about Kyle Pitts last year, right, and how he's this unicorn of an athlete.
Yes.
I want you to go look at the tight end for Virginia. His name, I forget his name right now.
Oh, Delanie Woods.
He's a freak.
Dude, yeah. I watched him live at the Miami-Virginia game. I was like, this motherfucker is a foot taller than everybody on the field, and he's running faster than the corners. So that's not normal.
No one knew how big he was until when I went to Mobile for the Senior Bowl, he exceeded all expectations. He's going to go around 3 or 4 probably. I think I don't know why. Like specimen alone, he's legit. I don't know how great his tape is now, but I will say this.
Okay. It's not
if you
great.
Get him in a system where he can be tight end 2 for a year or 2 and then adjust.
Yeah. So like a Philadelphia kind of like where like they have an established decent number 1.
Him and Dallas Goedert would eat. Like, I mean,
oh my God. Are you kidding me? And the thing is, he can run block, this kid out of Virginia. He can run. That's the best thing. He's not like some of these like receiving only tight ends like Travis Kelce who literally struggled like on a reach block. These guys can block because Virginia's offense was a pull and return quick pass offense. They've never been an aired out team, and this kid still dominated when he got the ball. Yeah, so that was my one nugget there I wanted to throw in there.
I see him like as a Mo Alley Cox. They're actually like the same exact body type, same exact like speed, everything that you're talking about. The thing is, he kind of reminds me of like a Taco Fall switch in sports, where it's like they almost just threw him in as like a gimmick, but then he still can at least play.
Yeah.
But to me, he's either going to be a guy that's just going to be a beast, or we're going to be like, remember that just gigantic guy that could run super fast, I don't see like the quickness that you would want out of a tight end, but you just need him as a red zone target. And my God.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. All right. Couple things quick. Cruz, you mentioned it already, man. We're the last 2 in the building for Honey Badger, apparently.
Yeah.
I did not even think we were in the sweepstakes. I thought we were out. And I'm like, apparently at a virtual meeting with Philly and it went well. I was like, oh. Well, that's news.
I'll put it like this. The Eagles need him more than the Saints need him.
Oh, no, I'll agree with that because right now our starting strong safety is Marcus Epps.
I
love Marcus Epps. I think he's great. I think he just needs one more year of sitting behind an experienced safety a la Anthony Harris. Whereas, like, the Saints...
We have Chauncey Gardner. We just signed Marcus May.
You guys have...
Yeah.
We have depth.
Whereas in Philadelphia, the thing is also Philadelphia apparently we're the favorite in the clubhouse to get Stephon Gilmore. I don't know if that's going to happen, but whatever.
I thought he was going to the Vikings.
No, Peterson went to the Vikings.
That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, apparently Slay and Darius Slay might be the best recruiter. I think Mississippi State should hire him for just like doing the work for him. Because
Actually, where I'm at right now is where Darius Slay's from. So,
really,
yes.
Oh.
wow.
St. Simon's, Georgia. Woo.
Well, the Bears fans
you know,
still think that we are in the running for Tyrann Mathieu. I just want to throw that out there as well.
He
Even
won't
though
play
that
in the
there's
Colts.
been
What?
zero
He won't play in the Colts.
connection.
He doesn't do
I'm like,
I love Bears fans for their optimism, but what the shit?
because the whole rumor is that because we have Ryan Poles as our GM, and also because Eddie Jackson and I guess Honey Badger said that they wanted to play together. That's about as far as the rumors have gone, and that was about a month ago when free agency started. So
How's that going?
yeah,
I do want me some Eddie
look at
Jackson
Bears Twitter.
being a Bama guy. I think Eddie Jackson is fantastic. Free Eddie Jackson.
Free Eddie Jackson.
Hey, well, would you trade? Okay, so would you trade a first round pick or Eddie Jackson for one first round pick or no?
Yeah, for sure. You're talking about you got the contract and everything. Get that out of here, type of deal. But with Matthew, I think honestly, I say the same thing with Eagles. I think I really like that matchup that you have. If you have Slay, you got Matthew, you got some big playability out there that's able to track. For the Saints, would he play slot? Would that be
I don't know
rationale behind it?
That would were you guys gonna play like a weird three safety set, like something out of like a Jim Schwartz defense? Like that was my question too, because I remembered when you said we don't need him. I'm like, wait a minute, they signed Marcus May and they've got that other guy too, and I was like, oh, Mr. Chain Snatch, and then I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, see, with the Eagles only run a three safety set when they're in the box because they don't like having three linebackers in the field, but then again, we always had McLeod, who's like just a human equivalent of a sledgehammer, but he's old. So Marcus Epps, no relation to Mike Epps, by the way. I looked it up. Marcus Epps has kind of been that like hammer for us when McLeod's been injured for the past 3,000 years. But oh my God, Honey Badger in our offense, if we were able to get a decent number 2 corner to help out Slay and Zach McPherson and Avonte Maddox. Oh.
No, I would say this: if he wants to play in the best secondary, he would come to New Orleans. I don't even think it's close. Him and Chauncey Gardner, and Chauncey Gardner has emerged as a star. You have Marshawn Lattimore, arguably a top 3 corner in the league. Paulson Adebo, who had a great rookie year, and then you have Quan Alexander, Demario Davis, and Pete Warner, a linebacker, all of them who can cover and run, and then of course you have the hellacious pass rush that is Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport. So
I will say we have a better pass rush than you guys, but that's only because that's all we've got.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. Top at the bottom, I would take my defense over yours.
Your linebacking core is in your number one. I mean, listen, like Lattimore and Slay are 3-4. Stack them however you want, but Slay in Philadelphia has been also when we got Steven Nelson, you saw. When it's like, oh, he's not the only corner on the field anymore, you realize, like, oh my God, he actually is disgusting.
Yeah.
So I will say this, though, like the addition of Hassan Reddick makes Philadelphia interesting now because now we have our 4 edge rushers back, plus this weapon that he's describing himself as, because apparently Jonathan Gannon's realized that blitzing actually works. By the way, guys, for the first time in Philadelphia Eagles history, we finished dead last in blitzing last year. That doesn't make me happy. I like seeing quarterbacks on their ass.
Are you guys going to draft a linebacker this year? Because you guys
apparently we're the favorite to get Nakobe Dean at our first pick.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I like Lloyd more.
That's if Howie doesn't throw a grenade in there and says, hey, we're going to go get Treylon Burks with our 15th pick.
I mean, you might have to at this rate. I
mean, listen, I'll take the kid out of we just got Kazir White, and I watched his fucking tape. Holy shit, that kid can move. By the way, one of the most underrated signs of the offseason, because I watched his tape, I'm like, how is this kid not getting a huge contract? And I'm like, oh, because he played for the Chargers. That's why. Nobody watches Chargers games, at least on defense.
I wanted Kaiser White so bad. He is a just animal. He can cover. He can do it all. Because nowadays you get,
Cruz, one thing I'll say, and I was evaluating draft tape on the kid out of Oregon. I mean, the kid out of Utah. What's his name? The linebacker. Not Dean, the other one.
1 second.
You mean Utah? Lloyd?
Yeah.
Devin Lloyd?
Yeah, Lloyd. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was watching tape, and I was talking when we had our draft special with my boy Uke. By the way, if you guys need a draft guy for your podcast, my boy Uke, he has done like 85 player profile. He just did John Mechie today. I read it. It was pin perfect. Like, this dude watches like an hour and a half of tape. I mean, his wife just is having a kid on Tuesday, and he's putting in the work. So you know what? He also lives in Israel, so he's always 5 hours ahead of us. So this, by the way, shout out to my boy Uke. He's coming back on Tuesday to do our first mock draft show. But anyway, we both had the same agreement with Lloyd. I need a linebacker to stand up and stop a running back by himself in college. It's a weird thing to look at, but with guys like Derrick Henry, guys like even smaller guys like a Sanders or a Kamara who have great balance and are able to break tackles. Even your boy Singletary, or Montgomery. I want a linebacker to be able to stand up a running back and drop him in the hole. Kazir White can do that.
Sure.
Devin Lloyd, I watched his tape for 2 hours. He made one solo tackle in the open field, and it was a receiver. All the running back tackles he made, he was the first guy to the ball, but it took another corner or safety to help bring the guy down. That scares me.
He's Devin White.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what scares me.
He's first to the ball, but he'll disrupt the play.
He
but
doesn't
he won't
have the
always
punch
make it.
power. That's why I don't really want a linebacker in this year's draft. I really don't, because I mean, we got to do. I mean, listen, if Dean was sitting there, I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, really? But TJ Edwards, when he was healthy, was a top 20 linebacker on PFF. Kazir White was incredible, and Davion Taylor, when he's healthy, is one of the better Sam linebackers, and one of the faster Sam linebackers in the league. We only run a 2 linebacker system anyway, whatever. But I honestly would rather go if the only reason I would not take Burks at 15 if I'm Philadelphia is if we have a shot at getting one of those edge rushers, the big 4 up front, the 4 main ones, or for some reason because of a stupid 40-time bullshit and we don't get Honey Badger, Kyle Hamilton sitting there at 15.
He's not.
I know it's not going to happen, but every year one draft pick falls, and every year some team takes a flyer on him, and it works. It happens every fucking year.
I'm gonna let you know. If anyone's gonna fall, I see 2 people falling. It's Drake London from USC.
Yeah, but that's gonna be because he's a bust. That's not because he's gonna be good.
And then I actually see Charles Cross from Mississippi State dropping.
So I agree with that only because I played and have coached and I've watched enough O-line play. Charles Cross scares me because his technique is not good for how much of a freak athlete he is. Technique is all about coaching, and if you can't
think they're better offensive linemen in the draft.
Here's the thing: is I love your boy out of Alabama, obviously. I love the motherfucker out of North Carolina State as well. I watched him body slam Greg Rousseau 2 years ago, and I was like, okay, this kid's a fucking freak. Okay, so and Greg Rousseau, 3 years ago, sorry, Greg Rousseau, by the way, is the most dominant edge rusher I've ever watched at Miami in my lifetime because I was not old enough for the ones they had in the early 90s because I am, 27 years old. But I watched Rousseau, who lit up Florida State for 4.5 sacks in a quarter, get smoked by this kid out of it. What's the kid's name out of North Carolina State? I can't remember his name right now.
Are you talking about Knight?
There's your boy of Alabama. Then there's the other tackle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I cannot pronounce his last name. It's
Yeah,
The
it's something
Nigerian
very
last
different.
name, yeah.
I'm gonna butcher it if I try and pronounce. I know
It's
who you're
okay.
talking about.
We at the corner booth are trying our best to pronounce your name.
We're not very smart, except Brad because he works on IT.
Brad's smart. We're
Brad
not.
is smart.
My team doesn't have a first round pick, so I don't look at the top 10. So
All I will say is I watched this
we
man
never pick that
literally
high.
Lance Greg Rousseau, and I was like, oh my god. Or it might have been Jalen Phillips, but still, both 2 first-round pick edge rushers. Just slammed them both. I'm like, oh, okay. But my biggest thing is with Charles Cross. The thing with Drake London, I will say this, Cruz, is when I watch a receiver, my biggest thing is I want to see if they can separate from corners based on their conference. And when I do that, I rank conferences based on their cornerback production. So number one, obviously the SEC. We all know those boys down south in the East, they're the best corners in the league.
Damn right.
Then 1, 2, 2 and 3, it swaps every year. It's ACC and Big Ten. They always swap every year. You always get decent corners. We don't count the passing league out in the Midwest, the Big 12. They don't count.
Fair.
Their corners all suck, except for Zach McPherson. He apparently ranked top 10 in PFF last year because apparently he's the only corner in the Big 12 knew how to cover. Then you have the Pac-12, who occasionally has a good cornerback. Oh, by the way, guys, we got ghost content.
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah, Cruz. Look how big his motherfucker's gotten.
I know.
19
dog on,
pounds, man.
Cruz's
He's getting
too.
heavy. 19 pounds. He's only a year and a half old. No, a year and a month. Anyway, Drake London never separates on his routes. I want you to watch. Unless it's a sharp break, he never separates. I think this kid is Kelvin Benjamin 2.0, but less explosiveness.
I think he's a less athletic Alshon Jeffrey.
See, my Alshon Jeffrey pick, no. See, originally I thought Treylon Burks was Alshon Jeffrey, and then I watched him. I'm like, no, that's Dez Bryant. That's Dez. He's too elusive to not be Dez Bryant. I thought slower Alshon Jeffrey. I'll go with that because
unathletic.
Alshon Jeffrey could run in the open field. Like that's everyone forgot. Brad remembers his last 3 years in Chicago and his first 2 years in Philly. That dude gets in the open field. You got to be fast to catch him. He's actually could run. But the problem is he was long and lanky. But Drake London, to me, is going to be like a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside where he can't separate.
Oh.
Yeah, and when you talk about like separation too, and Arcega.
Listen, Arcega-Whiteside though is the best blocking receiver in football for the past 2 years. Dude lines up at tight end in some of our formations because he's that good at blocking.
So, but also like when you're talking about just separation, Cruz, you brought up like David Bell. Bell is one of those guys too. Like anytime that I watch someone in college, I always get nervous when the only highlight film that you see is them like mossing people or making contested catches because they're not separating. And that's the biggest thing. Laquan Treadwell, same exact thing. Really good, pretty good athlete.
Yeah.
Every single piece of his tape. Like it's just tough because you have to separate. And if you can't separate against lesser competition, then you're not because no one's gonna throw it to you because they always say NFL Open is way different than college Open.
Oh, absolutely. I really like the Romeo Dubes out of Nevada. I think he's gonna be a day 2, like beginning of day 3 steal.
Cruz, you know how much I love his quarterback though. That's my sleeper quarterback in this draft. Like Carson Strong is giving me major like Dak Prescott, like day 3 quarterback this guy's going to be like the savior of the franchise out of nowhere vibes.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I have a good feeling about Romeo. I really do. I don't know what it is about him. I think he could be a good number 3 to come in. I don't think he can be a wide receiver 2 at the start. He can be a good slot guy. I think he can come in, learn a good system. Like I think a team like, a team that's already got 2 decent receivers. Like maybe he goes to
San Diego or Los Angeles.
I would say a Buffalo. I'd say I would say maybe even a Denver. Maybe.
Well, that's a.
If you got late round picks and you're trying to pair up Jerry Jeudy and Russell Wilson, and you got that. So, and you get him a good quarterback with that system, I think it'd be a good fit. I really do. I will tell you this: my sleeper pick for this entire draft, and I think he is the next like Fletcher Cox, Chris Jones type, Matthew Butler out of Tennessee. This kid is a monster.
His tape came across my YouTube recommendations the other day. I watched 5 minutes, Cruz, and I didn't get Fletcher Cox vibes, but I got like Snacks Harrison vibes where he just plugs up a hole. And
He's
it's like
bigger and faster. I'm sorry, he's bigger and stronger than your interior lineman. And I think if you pair him up with a fast pass rush, I think he can fill 2 holes, and he can you guys can eat.
So my thing is, like, we were talking about, like, Jordan Davis came up before. My biggest thing is, like, I don't care what their 40 time is as an edge rusher, as a D tackle. It's like, when are they going to run down a guy like that? It's like, my biggest thing is, like, can they stuff a double team? Fletcher Cox, like, his 40 times not great. It's like, unless you're Aaron Donald, I don't care. Like, Fletcher Cox is going to the Hall of Fame in 10 years because he's the best double team stuffer in football for the past decade. That man has given Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, any Eagles defensive lineman since 2014 an easy run to the quarterback because he takes up 2 blockers instantly and still makes plays.
Couldn't agree more.
With Butler, there's always like one guy that you're like, why don't people draft higher? And same thing. Like you watch Butler and you're like, this guy's good. Like, and it's like you see him, he's good, but like
there's some big names. Some big
late
name
round picks, I swear, scouts rely on stats. That's what it has to be because the misses these guys have sometimes is terrible.
I just think there's some big name interior defensive linemen this year. So I mean, he's getting overlooked, and I think he will be a steal in round 4, possibly even round 5. I don't see him getting past 4, but I think he can be a great addition to a defensive line. Be a great goal line defensive lineman, great D2 tackle if you're running a 4-3. I would love it. Like if you pair him with, for example, like I would love the Saints to take it on. And you pair him with Onyemata, who's more of a pass rushing defensive tackle, and you have a run stopper. I think he'd fit in great with that system. Or if you put him on the line with in the Rams and you pair him with Ashawn Robinson and Aaron Donald, you couldn't run on him the entire day.
You're basically like the only way to stop Aaron Donald is running on them, and now you can't even do that. So there you go. All right, boys, we got about 20 minutes left, so we're going to do a couple corner booth quick hits before we hit the corner booth dartboard. First off, Deebo Samuel has removed over 100 posts off his Instagram, made a blackout icon for his profile picture, and has unfollowed the 49ers. Are you buying? We have a Deebo contract issue in San Francisco. Brad, you're up first.
I'm saying yes, because you're seeing what wide receivers are getting. And I feel like Shanahan right now is going, I made you. Because you look at his percentages last year, 77 receptions out of 121 targets. That's not that it's solid, but it's not great. And to me, I just feel like they're like, well, we can find someone else. You're really good. He's a really good talent, but you have to pay Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Nick Bosa. You're not going to be able to pay him the type of money he's probably going to want to see. And I think that's why, like, to me, I don't think he resigns. I think we have something legit.
My biggest thing is, Chris, I'll give you a second, is that I want to see Deebo do this for 2 seasons. Seriously, I want to see Deebo be the top 5 weapon. I won't even characterize him as a receiver. Top 5 weapon that he is. Because he's a running back and receiver hybrid. When they started using him like that, that's when his effectiveness went up. If he does it again, then yes, you have to pay him. But until then, Deebo, I'm sorry, you're barking up the wrong tree too early. You're not Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith. Let's hope the Eagles figure that out way before that happens. You're not Michael Thomas or a Devontae Adams or a Tyreek Hill, where you have demanded a respect because you have been a top receiver for multiple years. You have been a top 10 receiver for 1 year. You got to pump the brakes. Cruz, what do you got?
I I have no problem with it because he's not just a wide receiver. He is a football player. He is one of those guys who can do it all. Hell, I think he has a better arm than Jimmy Garoppolo does. I
At least
think
his arm stays intact longer.
he can return, he can catch, he can run, he can throw. You can put him on special teams. I think he's very feared throughout the league. I think it's a match made in heaven with Shanahan's system. I think yes, I completely agree with you, Brad, where you got to pay Kittle, which I think those two are a 1-2 punch. And I think getting rid of him when you're getting ready to stay on Trey Lance and taking arguably his biggest strength, because with Trey Lance, they can run a lot of option. They can be a lot more versatile with Trey Lance in the offense, running options and running reverses and running trick plays. So like, if I'm San Francisco, I'm paying this guy. I'm sorry, I'm not letting this guy go and tear it up somewhere else in the NFC. I'm not trading this guy because you know why? If he goes to an AFC team, let's say the Jets, he goes there. You trade him, and then what if he hates the Jets and he's like, hey, I'm just going to go to the free market, and he goes to an LA, or he goes to Arizona, or he goes to a Philly, or somewhere else in the NFC, and he makes San Francisco regret it. You suck it up, you pay the man, and then you get your snaps out of him.
My biggest problem with San Fran is they're in a weird spot right now where they better hope to God Trey Lance is the quarterback Jesus they thought he was, trade to 3.
Should have got Mac Jones.
Hey, listen, Cruz, you were here. I said it. I said, listen, Mac Jones is the most pro-ready quarterback in this draft, and nobody fucking believed me.
He's going to be the first one out of these
except for you and Kevin. That's it.
He's going to be the first quarterback out of that draft class to win a ring.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Unfortunately, it's going to be in New England, which sucks.
And next year,
all right, a few other quick hits. Tiger Woods shot a 1-under, 71, day one of the Masters. I'm loving it. I put $10 down on Tiger to win the damn thing. Tiger's caddy is a family friend of mine, so I also grew up a Tiger fan anyway, so I kind of have to be a Tiger fan. But listen, shout out to Joe LaCava, his caddy, who I've known forever, and also shout out to Tiger for putting it up, man. I'm excited to watch the Masters this weekend. I'm loving it. You guys loving this too?
Yeah, I'm getting slowly more into golf, so I appreciate it more. I will say this: it is great seeing Tiger back because when Tiger's back, golf is fun. I was actually excited to watch Tiger today after everything he's gone through. So very excited for him. I love watching the Masters because I'm a big sports history legacy kind of thing. So
yeah.
I think. I don't know. It's something about it, man. I think he might try and pull this off. Even though I'm a JT guy, I'm a Justin Thomas guy. I am. He's a Bama boy. So
fair enough. I have actually a crazy story. So I found out through my mom, who is best friend, who's really good friends with Tiger's caddy's wife. That's how I know Tiger's caddy. Apparently the Masters changed the rules up this year. They were going to basically have Joe, his caddy, walk the course, and the Masters changed the rules up this year. So basically, you have to walk your course. If you're a caddy, you have to walk course with your golfer. So once Tiger got on the course, cameras clicking, everyone knew that he was back. But all right. Next up, 2 more quickly. Ronald Acuna and Freddie Freeman are in the news, the Braves. Ronald Acuna was quoted allegedly by a source saying that Freeman was cold, abrasive, I'm paraphrasing here, et cetera, et cetera. Ronald Acuna, of course, came out and said, I did not say this about Freddie. He's a good teammate, yada, yada, yada. Are you buying the friction with Freddie Freeman and the Braves?
No, he just got money.
He's got the money. Braves media, I swear to God, Atlanta media is petty as hell.
Yeah, they came out
More
and said,
drama for baseball, the better.
Yeah, they was we didn't want Deshaun Watson anyways. Yeah, you did. Shut up.
Yeah, I saw the Watson Falcons jersey in the background. I saw it.
I hate Atlanta media. I really do.
Oh, by the way, Cruz, how do you love how my co-host Savannah figured that out? She called it Cleveland was getting was getting.
I mean, in the beginning when they were originally in it, I completely agreed. Now, when they came out and said it's not happening, I was like, okay. So I really
guaranteed
did.
contract made me want to blow my head off. Though. So
I mean, 200 million guarantee, you cannot turn that down. I'm sorry, that you'd be stupid not to.
No, I love it, but it's also going to screw over every NFL team trying to re-sign a quarterback, a la Philadelphia in the next 2 years.
There's Deshaun Watson's will grow on trees, and then like once people realize that, where it's like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson. I don't think Kyler Murray's going to get that kind of money.
Oh, no. He thinks he will, though.
He thinks he will, but he won't. And then guess what? I can't wait for someone to overpay for Kyler Murray. I actually hope it's Carolina Panthers.
I really do, too. I want the clusterfuck. By the way, okay, so guys, quickly before we get into our last thing for Corner with Quick Hits, then we hit the dartboard. What is your actual prediction how tall Kyler Murray is? Brad, how tall do you think he is, really?
5'8". 5'8", 5'7". Yeah.
I'm gonna say 5'7".
I
swear to God, he looks like Kevin taking a snap under center for Cruz.
It looks like Pac-Man Jones with the helmet.
How tall is Kevin?
Kevin's 5'7".
Really?
Yeah.
Short king.
Yeah, it's funny. You watch us next to each other. I'm 5'11", he's 5'7", and then there's my goofy ass cousin, 6'2". That's our trio usually. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite time of the show as we finish up here with this 30-pound block of plywood and this nice Hobart dartboard. It is time for the Corner Booth dartboard right here, right now. Brad, you are the newest to the show, so you get to slam somebody up here. Who is your person on the bullseye today?
Well, since we have someone from Barstool Sports, I'm not going to slam the person who got disrespected by a quarterback. But I'm going to throw Aaron Rodgers up there because because Aaron Rodgers, just the amount, like, his family hates him, his teammates hate him, and me as a Chicago Bears fan, cover the Chicago Bears, I got to throw him up there on the dartboard.
Fair enough. All right, Cruz, anybody you want to put up here?
I'm going to go Kendrick Perkins.
Okay.
NBA TV. Kendrick Perkins came out not too long ago. It was probably right after the All-Star break, after the trade went down. CJ McCollum traded to the city of New Orleans and said that New Orleans is not a basketball city. Do you know since then they have won the majority of their games? They're outscoring their opponents. They're out shooting them. They are now in the play-in. They went from being 3-18 to start the season, and now they are in the playoffs, and guess who's not? LeBron, a basketball city. So maybe instead of relocating the New Orleans Pelicans to Seattle, how about they relocate the Lakers? I think the Seattle Lakers has a really good ring to it.
Oh, so, I love it. Are you kidding me?
Kendrick Perkins, suck a D.
My Corner Booth dartboard. So last night I was commenting on our good friends of the show, Craft Brew Sports, and I had one of their guys, I got him fired up because I basically said LeBron James is the Will Smith of basketball. And for the second week in a row, this soft, a little bit of a weasel of a star player of the NBA is here. Because for the last 10 years of my life, I have grown a dislike of basketball. I loved it. But unfortunately, guys, he's not on my dartboard. On my dartboard is the equipment manager or floor manager at Caesars Superdome, where the hell you call that arena down in New Orleans. This motherfucker had the balls to say there was nothing wrong with the floor that Armando Bacot's ankle had snapped like a freaking twig. I watched the floor flex on slow-mo. There's something wrong with the floor.
That was bad.
Armando Bacot's 6'9", 270. He's not a big dude for basketball players. He's not a giant dude, okay? If Armando Bacot's ankle doesn't get rolled, I'm telling you, McCormick doesn't hit that jump shot, we have a whole different argument. I'm $2,000 richer, and I am still celebrating 4 days later. Okay? So you know what? Manager of the equipment or whatever the hell your job is at the Superdome, you can literally kiss my ass and go walk into the ocean without breathing, okay? You're right here. Right in the center. maybe not. Don't go die. Just go get in trouble and get fired.
Are you mad? I can't tell.
I'm like, okay, so listen, my Tar Heels put up an amazing fight.
You also
were
blew a
underdog
16-point lead.
in 4 out of their 5 games they played in the tournament, and they won 4 out of the 5 games they played in the tournament.
And you also blew a 16-point lead when it mattered the most.
Yeah,
So
but we also took back
blame the floorboard.
We also took back the lead, lost the lead, took back the lead again.
You did.
I want to talk about the 16-point lead. Great. Halftime lead don't mean shit in basketball.
Buddy, it was a 16-point lead in the national.
It doesn't mean shit. I've seen faster leads get evaporated in NBA games. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, halftime. Yeah, it's a good T-shirt. Congrats to your coworkers at Barstool. They made a smart product. Okay, here's the thing. If you said beginning of the fourth quarter lead was 15 points, but there's no 4 quarters in basketball, obviously. But yeah, then that's a great. Then that's ridiculous. But it's like, oh my god, halftime. If halftime lead was fucking like 25 or 30, then yeah, I'm embarrassed, and it's like some Atlanta Falcons level shit. But the problem is in basketball, you can score 10. Ask Tracy McGrady, you can score 10 points in 30 seconds. It's not hard. So here's the thing. They evaporated that lead in almost 5 minutes. Great. Kansas is one of the 4 best basketball teams in the country. North Carolina was ranked 36th in the country when the tournament started. I'm happy we took them to the fucking wire all 12 rounds and lost in the last swing, okay? It sucks. Kobe Love, our best player. Caleb Love, our best player. Sorry, Kobe. Kobe White was who I was thinking for a second. Caleb Love, bum ankle. Armando Baycott, snapped ankle. Puff Johnson, puking up a lung. I will happily defend my Tar Heels. They are my Tar Heels for only one sport because I despise them and everything else. But since I was a little kid, I've loved North Carolina basketball. Yes, my fandom's fucked up, Cruz. We've made this joke 1,000 times.
I know.
I've been trying to connect the dots this whole time.
Listen, I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone who's a friend of mine. I get it. But listen, North Carolina basketball is like the Diamondbacks, like the Eagles, and the Timberwolves. It has a special place in my heart since I was a child. Like one of my first memories of North Carolina basketball was watching Vince Carter highlights when he got drafted. I was 4 years old. But I didn't even become a fan of them until a friend of mine who was wearing a Vince Carter jersey when I was in 3rd grade. In 2003, I said, fuck it. I'm going to be a North Carolina fan because fuck UConn. I grew up in Connecticut, obviously. And I'm a rebel. I hate teams around me. So, first year as a full-fledged North Carolina Tigers fan, covering the team, Sean May, Rashad McCants, Marvin Williams, Raymond Felton, and win the national title. And I was like, I'm sold. They beat D. Brown, Darren Williams, and them boys. I remember this shit like it was yesterday. And then the Psycho T teams. And then the Harrison Barnes teams. That Harrison Barnes, Tyler Zeller team should have won like 3 back-to-back championships. But every damn year, it was somebody got hurt. Every damn year was some bullshit. And then it was the 2017 Roy's last run team. This year, you're just getting started, man. Listen, North Carolina's back, and Duke's a spiraling plane out in the sunset about to blow up. So I love it. God bless.
Tell me how you really feel.
Bro, listen, Cruz, besides the Dallas Cowboys and the Florida State Seminoles, Duke Blue Devils are right there.
I'm not allowed to say anything about Florida State anymore.
I understand. That's why when I come to New York to hang out with you, I have to keep my mouth shut around girl. I understand.
There you go.
I'll just bring up, the last 6 years. But whatever. Listen, I gotta give credit to Florida State. They gotta win eventually because they gotta keep the rivalry alive. And they did cost me $30 back in November, but whatever. That was like my first week of sports betting being legal in Connecticut, so I got a little slap happy, and I bet like a shit ton of stuff. And I realized, hey, dummy, you're running out of free bets.
It's all right.
Wisconsin's going to get it soon, so I'm going to probably be jumping on that train too. So hopefully,
well, you can always use promo code BOOT for DraftKings Sportsbook app.
I already did.
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
Put $5 down, get $150 in free bets this week.
I think you should
promo
recommend
code
them to sponsor the
BOOT.
corner booth.
Look, I'm just surprised I got them. So I'm just like,
Listen,
I'm just here.
I was like, I saw that. I did a fist pump for you, kid.
Yeah. Makers, got Makers Mark, and I got DraftKings. So
listen, if you ever need a fill-in host
Nice.
for Perkins, I got you.
If Perk ever starts to get a little comfortable, I'll let you know.
Listen, because like I have no shame in being the third wheel on a podcast. Okay, I've hosted my entire life, but I honestly, you guys had me on. I called Chet Holmgren Slender, man. I have no problem being the third wheel comedian. It's okay.
Well, it's okay. Actually, in my interview with Patrick Young today, we decided that Patrick Young would eat Chet Holmgren. Big Patrick Young.
Yes, I would agree with that because here's the problem. Chet Holmgren is like, okay, so Brad, you look like a leaner guy, right? I mean, I'm not calling you skinny by any stretch, but you're a leaner guy.
Thank you.
He's calling you skinny.
Bro, you would body Chet Holmgren, and he's got a lot of foot on you, probably. That man, I swear, okay. My mom is not a college basketball fan by any stretch. As we get into our final minute here, she looks at Chet Holmgren and she goes, "Get that kid a fucking sandwich." Like seriously,
he needs a weight room. He needs the Kevin Durant weight room.
Creatine, steroids, bull tranquilizers, everything. This kid needs Zion's diet right now.
Hey, whoa. No Zion slander. No,
hey,
no.
hashtag
talking about bending the floorboards.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, our good friend Zach Mack got held up at work and because of the storm rolling through Florida right now, I guess, or Memphis, where the fuck he lives. Either way, we appreciate the great people at the Ox Court Unbearable Pod for dropping their two most talented guys today. Brad, let us know what's on tap for Unbearable. Where can we find you?
Hey, yeah, so we're getting ready for the draft. So we're going through every single position. Who could the Bears be drafting? We just went through every single draft prospect from Ohio State to pair with Justin Fields. So you want to follow us at Unbearable Sports, Unbearable Sport on Twitter. So just look for it and you'll be able to find us.
By the way, these are non-toxic Bears fans. I actually stopped hating the Bears because of Brad. Cruz, what's good in your neighborhood? What's good with you, Perkins, and the boys?
Man, so we got some exciting things in the work. It's draft season for us, so we're gonna have and guest season for us, so we're gonna have a lot of big guests coming on. Really excited about that. We are just really excited for the opportunities we have. Huge shout out to Boo Crew Media, huge shout out to Barcelona, New Orleans, making all this possible. Like I said, just dropped a new episode today. Interview with SEC Network's very own Patrick Young. Awesome interview. Gives me a breakdown. He picks a Masters winner and he tells me who would win in a round of golf, him or Tim Tebow. So that's a pretty good story if you want to hear it.
It's on my podcast queue for tomorrow. So trust me.
And so then you can follow me online at the Real Cruz Ox on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you follow the Ox Court podcast as well. We're on all social networks and subscribe to Boo Crew Media and Barstool New Orleans. So a lot of things to plug. But we're excited, by the way. If you guys ever want free prop bets, just let me know. Promo code BOOT on the DraftKings Sports app or Sportsbook. There you go.
All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a quick thank you to our friends over at YeatsOfficial.com. Promo code Corner Booth for 10% off. We got much love for them. They've been doing right by me for the past year and a half. Shout out, of course, to Oxford Podcast and Unbearable Sports for coming on, sending their most talented guys. And shout out to Ghost up here, who's behaved for the last hour. We hope you guys have a great weekend. Appreciate you stopping by. Shout out to Will, Jason, and the rest of the guys who commented in the pot as well. We love y'all. Appreciate you guys coming by, and we will catch you guys next week. Draft special coming up Tuesday. Check it out. Peace.
University Traditions. Let's go.
You like that? You like that?
Great.
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
There you go.
I didn't see it. That's so great.
Yeah. Just decided to do a little extra work day and pop up that tweet. AJ, let's start with you. What were your thoughts on this deal? And is this the right amount of money for Stephon Diggs?
It's the right time. And I'm not mad at the money. I mean, he's a season removed from having a career year playing lights out for the Buffalo Bills. And he's very, very it's good for the Bills to have locked down their number one, the guy that they feel like Josh Allen can ride with for the future, and allows them to keep just putting those weapons that work well with the scheme around him and Josh Allen. So I like the deal. Second highest guaranteed money for a wide receiver in NFL history. Smart man to wait Davante Adams out, and look, he got the payday. Well deserved, and I hope it shows up on the field, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah, he is now the second most guaranteed money for a wide receiver in NFL history. Tyreek Hill had $72 million. Stephon Diggs, $70 million. Julio Jones, 66. Oof. And then is that? I guess I shouldn't say Julio is an oof because he was good at
that time.
At that time. But do we continue to see Stephon Diggs get better and better? He's just now entering in the prime of his career, right? This is a great signing for the Buffalo Bills, right, Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about matches made in heaven. When he got dealt from Minnesota, it was sort of like bad turmoil there. He wanted out. They ended up fixing it, and they sent him to a place like Buffalo. And he got a great relationship with Josh Allen right away with that offense. He had a great year, and he backed it up this year playing pretty good football. And, I mean, he's just a good fit for that team, good fit for that offense. It's great that they were able to work together and get a deal done. He's happy. The fans are happy. His quarterback's happy. Everybody's happy here in this situation. So I love the deal. I love the extension, and it makes sense. Pay your players, and they did it.
Yep. Aaron, what were your thoughts?
I seen it coming. I mean, we talked, his brother put that tweet out about how he would love to play with his brother in Dallas, but I think we all knew that Stephon Diggs wasn't going anywhere. AJ mentioned him waiting out Davante Adams, kind of waiting out Tyreek Hill, and he slotted right in between there. And there's nothing wrong with it. He's one of the best receivers in football, excellent route runner. He does wonders for that Bills offense. And it goes to show you how his teammates reacted to it. Josh Allen was like, yes, they're best of friends. They hang out. Josh Allen needs his weapon. So, and then Emmanuel Sanders was on NFL Network talking about how good Stephon Diggs actually is and how much the team kind of gravitates to him and how important he is to that team. So look, Buffalo's offense needs Stephon Diggs, and Josh Allen needs Stephon Diggs, and they kept him for 4 years. I thought it was a good deal for Buffalo as well. They didn't sign one of those Amari Cooper 5-6 year deals where maybe in 2 or 3 years when he does cross that 30 mark, you're looking to move him. And kind of feel that impact of the salary cap. I think right here you get 4 good years out of him, and then you can kind of reassess if you want to put him on another 1 or 2 year deal to keep him around if he's still performing or not.
Where does he? Where did you have him ranked in your wide receiver? Your top 7 wide receivers? Was he higher or lower than Cooper Kupp?
He's higher than Cooper Kupp. Stephon Diggs is I believe I had him at 5 or 4. He's a top 5 guy to me. And again, this includes, we talked about guys that are younger, that are obviously ascending, the Jamar Chases of the world. But as far as what we have right now, he's a top 5 guy for me. And people don't appreciate the art of route running. And Stephon Diggs is one of the best route runners in football, arguably the best. Obviously, Davante Adams will have something to say about that. Guys like Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper might have something to say about that. But the way he runs routes, he can basically take any corner one-on-one, and you're going to have trouble with him. So Stephon Diggs is up there. He deserves the payday. And shout out to AJ for pointing out second most guaranteed money in NFL history. It seems like we're saying that every single week now because obviously the money's getting ridiculous.
I'll ask you guys this question. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if someone has already said it in the chat, but the list of wide receivers that everyone keeps talking about, who's next? It's like Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown. AJ, I'll ask this question just to you, just for you, buddy. Which one of those wide receivers gets the big payday next?
I mean, I think it's gonna be an AJ Brown. You're hearing a lot of these conversations about trade rumors, and from the moment I heard it, I was like, ain't no way in hell. Even with the season he had, what he forced himself to be able to do through injury last year, just because it meant so much to that team, he's going to be the playmaker for Ryan Tannehill or whoever's to come after. I think he's going to be the next guy to play his way and talk his way into a much bigger contract. DK Metcalf would be next for me, but Seattle just has so many things that they have to handle before they can even think about handing a wide receiver a big deal contract like that. So I go with AJ Brown.
Yeah, and Terry McLaurin, I forgot, I was also on that list, but I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement with you that I do think it's going to be AJ Brown because that name continues to pop up. Him and DK Metcalf. There were reports out today that the Jets offered the 10th overall pick to the Seattle Seahawks. They turned it down. Then there were reports saying that wasn't true. It's going to get wild before this NFL draft. I'm telling you, it's going to get crazy. The other news, which was a trade that had to do with the NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles sent the New Orleans Saints pick 16 and picks 19 for really pick 18. There's a lot of lower picks in this, but really it's centered around 18 for 16 and 19. Aaron, you said you were, I don't want to say hot on this, but you had something to say about this. So what were your thoughts on this deal?
Yeah, well, people on the surface were like, "That's a bad deal for Philadelphia. How are they giving up a first round pick and not getting anything back?" And people forget that when you draft in the first round, you have to pay that first round pick accordingly. So if you have 3 first round picks, guess what happens? You have 3 first round tenders, right? You have to pay that money to each one of them, and then 4 years. Guess what? If they all pan out, you got to pay them all again. Right? You get a 5th-year option. So all these end up coming up at the same time. So a lot of teams that love to stack picks, they don't want to stack 3 first rounders in the same year. That's really what this deal was about. It's to move that first rounder out of this year. You move it into the next year. Now you have 2 this year, 2 next year. It also gives them some flexibility with Jalen Hurts to see if he's going to be the quarterback of the future, right? It gives them another year. They don't have to draft a quarterback this year. Gives them another year, and the next year, instead of wasting that first, I don't want to say wasting, instead of using that first round pick on a quarterback, they still have an extra one to go out and get some needs that they can address. I thought it was great for Philadelphia to do that. I know everybody got excited about 3 first rounders, but trying to pay 3 first rounders and keep them all at the 4 years, it's a lot. And then you're trying to hit on all 3, right? And then I also liked what the Saints were able to do because now it gives the Saints some flexibility. Do they maybe draft a quarterback too? Because now they have an extra pick, maybe somebody for some insurance policies there. I really thought the deal was pretty even on both sides, and I like what both teams did there.
Dylan, what were your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. That was a good point there. I was going to go on the route of the quarterback where it gives teams flexibility. Look, the Saints, they got Jameis Winston in their room, and sure, they signed Andy Dalton. But other than that, I mean, really, there's no long-term answer. Winston's coming off an ACL. He could be the answer, but that's still a risky business there. They have the ability now to go get one of the top quarterbacks in this draft class, which is still pretty bad. But, hey, if you could go get them, then they believe that could be something they do this year. Plus, they're a team that's not far off from competing. Philadelphia side, again, with the quarterbacks, it allows them, if Hurts stinks it up this year, if there's something that happens, there's a chance for them to go get one next year, and it gives them that extra flexibility. And you still got 2 this year. So, I mean, you're all right.
There you go.
And it's a better quarterback draft class next year,
Exactly.
Projected quarterback draft class. But I did want to mention something about the Saints. Don't be surprised, and you might see this in my mock draft, if they take that Philadelphia Eagles pick they just got and package their 2 first rounders now to move up for either Ikem Ekwonu or Evan Neal. If they just lost to Ron Armstead, to have somebody on that left side, don't be surprised if they make a move like that. We've seen this from a number of teams. We saw it with the Dolphins. We've seen it with the Niners before, where they've traded about a month before the draft, and then they've used those picks, right, like close to draft day or on draft day, to move up and get one of their top players. So don't be surprised if that happens here with the Saints.
That'd be a huge move. I expect a lot of trades, a lot of movement this year in the first round. It's going to be very exciting. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, when the draft comes, we will be live for the entire first round. We'll probably be live for the entire second and third round. You are not going to want to miss a single second of Sac City draft coverage. AJ, tell them where they can follow us to get even more draft coverage.
Yeah. If you want even more draft coverage, follow us on all of our social medias, at Sac City Pod on Facebook, at Instagram, where Penny is still killing it with the graphics. Our Twitter's popping, our YouTube stays popping, where Aaron is killing it with the videos. And of course on TikTok, where Dylan and I will one day don ourselves and make videos and be a part of the Sac City family. Head on over to all of those wonderful social media platforms at Sac City Pod. Hit those likes, hit those loves, hit those shares. Your boys are back in town. Sac City, baby. Let's do it.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's get into this NFC West draft coverage. Now, if you guys missed our show on Monday, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, please go back and tune in and listen to it on all the podcasting platforms. Or if you want to watch us, it is in very easily clipped videos on our YouTube page at Sac City Pod, just like AJ mentioned before. So please go check that out. Now we are going to be breaking down the NFC West. We're going to be bringing up one player that these teams must draft in this upcoming draft. It can be a first-round pick, second round pick, a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh round pick. It don't matter. We are going to be breaking it down. Let's start off with the Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams. They currently own the 104, the 142, and others. Their biggest needs are a cornerback, an edge rusher, and an offensive lineman. AJ, start off with you, buddy. Who is a must-draft player for the Los Angeles Rams?
Okay. Well, as we know, the Los Angeles Rams started the new era of draft picks. Who needs them? And they just won a Super Bowl. So I have their pick coming up in round 3, pick 104. As we know, they were able to maintain Joseph Noteboom after Andrew Whitworth retired, but I still think they're going to need some help on that line. And I have a guy who was a part of the best tackle duo in the country, and that, for me, is going to be Mr. Luke Goedeke from Central Michigan. So this guy, next to Bernard Raymond on the other side, is a great run blocker. He has great hands. He's really good at sealing the edge. This guy had 94.3 run blocking grade in 2021. It definitely stepped up. As you see, a lot of his tape came from some of the top-notch programs in the SEC, playing against Missouri, playing against LSU. He held his own for a lot. Now, this is a third-round pick, so he's going to have some issues that needs to be cleaned up. I think his technique is a little messy. He's going to get called for some holes in the NFL, and his stamina needs to improve. As the game goes on, he wears down a little bit, and you can see that if you watch his clips from LSU. Those edge rushers, as fast and powerful as they are, were getting by him a little easier than they were in quarters 1 and 2. But as a third-round pick and a guy that you're going to develop and need help for in the seasons to come, you can slide him in at tackle, you can slide him in at guard, and I think he'll be a good guy for the Rams in the future. Luke Goedeke, Central Michigan, round 3, pick 104. Nab him up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was arguably the best take I've ever heard AJ say. Not just because it was a good take and it was who it should be, probably, but that was hot, dude. You had this new AJ is just coming out swinging, man. Came out with facts, came out with stats.
This new AJ.
Hey, I like alumni AJ, man. Alumni AJ is where it's at.
I've learned so much. You need to tell me if I'm valedictorian or not. I'm tired of waiting.
Oh my God. You are. We already know you are. We already know you are.
Yeah.
No, AJ hit it right on the head. He's a very, very good player. His weaknesses, I'll play the devil's advocate because that's what we do on this show. Some of his weaknesses are he has shorter arms, so sometimes it's hard for him to stay attached, especially to those fast guys that AJ was talking about. He could be a bit late if you see a lot in front of him. He can tend to get kind of lost with blitzes and defenses that tend to move a lot. But you're talking about a first-team all-max selection. So this guy can handle his own. He started 25 games at right tackle. He's got that experience there. I think he'll be a nice fit, especially on a team that I don't think you really need to go into and start right away. You can kind of funnel him in, get him some experience, maybe play that backup role like a Joe Noteboom was doing at first, fill in, get some experience, and then go from there. So the Rams have done a good job because they haven't had many first-round picks. They've done a really good job of drafting guys later on in the draft and having them come in and be productive. So I thought that was a good selection there.
Yep. Aaron, what do you got for your pick?
My pick is also another. It's kind of a late round guy. Maybe some people haven't even heard of. He's out here on the West Coast. He's a defensive lineman. I'm thinking round 4 here. Again, late pick for the Rams. My guy is Otito Ogbonia. I think that's how you say his name. That's right. Otito Ogbonia. He's from UCLA. He's an interior guy. Now, we talk about the offseason and how Aaron Donald might retire. Now, we all know Aaron Donald's coming back. but this is a guy that can sit behind Aaron Donald and learn, because we don't know how long Aaron Donald's going to play. This is a guy that's big, physical. He's up front. He likes to just plug right over the center, and he just takes up space. And I know, at 6'3", 324, that's what we want those guys to do on the nose. He has really good upper body strength, good against double teams. Some of the things he lacks in is in open space, obviously being that big, but he had 2 sacks last year. This is a guy I think that can come in, be a project, and learn behind Aaron Donald and have some success being taught by the second best defensive player of all time.
Oh, second best.
I like back and forth from now on. I feel like I just say he was first once.
Over Lawrence Taylor? No. I've said he's the greatest defensive lineman that's ever played.
Yep.
But second best defensive player ever, always behind Lawrence
Taylor. I gotta go into the archives.
You'll never find that. I promise you that. You'll never find that I said that ever.
Okay. I like watching it, so it's okay.
Lawrence Taylor is just different.
It's nice for the Rams right now because all these picks, I feel like, for the Rams are depth picks. It's not someone that necessarily is going to come in and be a big-time impact player, starter day one, obviously, when your first pick is in the 3rd round. I'm gonna pick up and go continue on this defense side here real quick. And I am going to go with someone. It's a name that it's very familiar with the Los Angeles area. And before I go into saying why he should be the pick, my pick right here is Kobe Bryant, the cornerback from Cincinnati. But before the B-roll starts rolling, the reason I asked you gentlemen about Isaiah Thomas before the show is there are 3 players in this NFL draft that have the same exact name as superstars from the NBA, Kobe Bryant included, and Isaiah Thomas and Chris Paul, all players that are in this draft and also superstar basketball players of, What?
Good comparison, host. I like it.
Only you.
Hey, man, I'm trying to give some.
I love it.
I'm trying to give some substance here. I'm trying to set myself apart.
Caught me off guard.
You can't find
that. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. And just to let everyone know, I asked about Isaiah Thomas because, well, first of all, I'm not really an NBA guy, so I really didn't really know who he was. I knew who of the most recent Isaiah Thomas, who was he's not a legend. Why would it matter that his name is Isaiah Thomas and his name is Isaiah Thomas? It sparked a massive debate on the show before we even went live about Isaiah Thomas being good or not.
We've already mentioned Isaiah Thomas's name too many times today. Let's move on.
Yeah, I guess this is about Kobe Bryant and not Isaiah Thomas. Kobe Bryant, RIP, the legend. But this Kobe Bryant is the pick that the Los Angeles Rams need to make. Kobe Bryant brings something that the Los Angeles Rams need to have. They obviously lost Darius Williams in free agency, but Kobe Bryant, the cornerback out of Cincinnati, had 37 breakups since 2018. That led the nation in pass breakups. He's an efficient mover and what scouts call as sticky. That's one of the words that I found a lot when I was looking up what Kobe Bryant was about. Everyone seemed to have that word to describe what he is. He is sticky. He plays in that zone heavy scheme that fits what the Rams do in Los Angeles. He'd be a perfect fit to play alongside Jalen Ramsey. And it's a pick. Obviously, he fits LA. His name is perfect. It's a match made in heaven right there. And Kobe Bryant is a must-have pick for the Los Angeles Rams in round 3.
LA superstar Kobe Bryant. You mentioned 38 breakups since 2018 or 2017. That reminds me a lot of Taylor Swift, another superstar out there in the Hollywood area.
I can't with you. I cannot. I can't. I just.
You know what's really sad about this, though? You know what? I'm actually kind of angry because not even 30 minutes ago did I mention Taylor Swift to our damn intern on a text message. Here comes damn Dylan with the same mindset. Jesus, I got to change my life. I got to make better life choices.
If this guy is there to cover, I think you're getting a going. He's a playmaker. He likes to be around the ball, but just don't let a running back come his way because he's not going to tackle anybody. That's the one thing I worry about in the run game. And, as a DB, you don't really have to, but those corners that can stick their nose in there and make some plays, it does change a defense. This guy's not going to do that. He tends to dive at guys, misses a lot of tackles. But as far as cover skills, especially you mentioned the scheme that the Rams play, I do think that's a good fit. And we always talk about being mentored by somebody. If you're going to be mentored by somebody, be mentored by the best. To go play in college with Sauce Gardner, who's going to be a top pick in this draft, and then go move up to the professional level and have Jalen Ramsey in those meeting rooms and that locker room, there's so much you can learn there. So, and they're definitely going to need a defensive back after losing Darius Williams. So it's a good pick.
Yeah, and the one last thing about him too that I saw that you brought up, the fact that he's going to have to be learning from a guy like Jalen Ramsey. Scouts say he's a great mind. He's got a great mind, and he's great in the room to learn, to absorb all the knowledge. And that's going to be like a theme with all my picks tonight. Is they're going to be great character guys to have in the locker room and in the film room. Kobe Bryant to the Los Angeles Rams. Dylan, take it away.
Yeah, I'm going deep. You talk about good draft coverage and looking like legit into players. They hit on the late round picks. Ooh, spit it out. Safety. I'm going here 6th round. I'm diving into 212, a safety out of Georgia Tech. His name's Juwanye Thomas. Juwanye Thomas is legit. Now, I watched him play football against Notre Dame when I went to that game, and he was all over the place. He's great against the run. He's got long arms and can make plays. He's a phenomenal special teams player as well. And that's what you get sometimes with these 6th round, 7th round undrafted players. You have someone, and if he can tackle, he has that great tackling ability. Put him on as a gunner opposite Ben Skoranek on the other side to make some tackles on the punt team. That's what it's all about. You know, he's a good special teamer. He's had an interception in every single year, right? Every single year he's had a pick. This guy's a pretty good football player. He could be a steal in the 6th round. Like I said, long arms, can make plays, and he's a great tackler. That's someone right there. He had two forced fumbles last year as well. I think he could be a steal in the 6th round. Juwanye Thomas, Georgia Tech.
Are you pronouncing that right?
Not a
sure. It's not Juan. You sure it's not Wanye? Just Wanye.
Kanye. Wanye.
It's just Wanye.
Wanye.
Just saying, it's just Wanye.
You
No,
probably that boy from Man Life.
you talk about like guys in the 6th round. I thought you hit it on the head when you talked about special teams. A lot of those guys do go play special teams, and the difference that separates those 6th and 7th round guys to making rosters and end up being impact is their motor. And this dude's motor is unreal. He's all, like Dylan said, he's all over the field. He doesn't stop, and he is going to lay a hat on you when he has the opportunity. No, I don't expect him to come in and start somewhere, but that is like the perfect spot to start, is on special teams. Go down, hit somebody, and next thing you know, you're noticed, and now you're playing a little bit of nickel coverage as a safety, or some dime packages as a safety, and you start to make your mark there. So I really like his motor, and he has a chance to make an impact, at least to start his career on special teams.
Yeah, and say what you will about the ACC, but there are some playmakers in there, and Georgia Tech had themselves a pretty good year playing against some of those guys, and he was a big part of it. So we just have to see it translate into the NFL. His discipline needs to kind of tighten up. He's one of those guys that really does look for the hit, but you have to make sure you're sticking to your assignment as well. And there's sometimes he gets a little tackle happy, and it can cost you. But I do like the pick.
Good pick. And you know what else? We talk about how they're drafting for depth here, and no one's going to really become that big of an impact player. But if you can get someone on special teams, that's someone who can come in day one and have an impact, like our boy Ben Skoranek, aka Skronek. Where did he get drafted? What was he drafted? Or was he an undrafted?
He was either undrafted or a late rounder. I'm pretty sure.
Man, you don't even know.
I'm pretty sure.
That's your best friend.
Not my best friend.
Ben Skronek was drafted as the 249th pick.
It was very late.
Round 7.
Very late. Round 7.
And he was legitimate. He was running routes in the Super Bowl.
But that's what, to your point, like the 7th round pick, he made his mark on special teams. And then you have a couple of injuries, and next thing you know, you're in a big game and you're doing stupid things like dropping wide open passes, wide open touchdowns. But he did get the opportunity to play.
When did he have fantasy relevance? Were you playing in some special teams league?
I think he got 1 catch for 6 yards.
When he beat your brother?
Didn't he have 1.6, right? 1 catch, 6 yards?
1.6. I beat him by 1.
Goodness gracious. Oh my goodness. All right, let's move on to the next team in the NFC West. It's the Arizona Cardinals. Their needs look like this. They need an edge. They need a cornerback, a wide receiver. They got the 23rd pick in the 1st round and the 55th pick the 2nd round, followed up by the 87th and 3rd, and so on and so forth. I want to start this off here because I did not pick one of the needs that we have listed here. I kind of went off the board here, and this is even a 3rd round pick, so this really isn't like a big time depth pick. My guy here for the Arizona Cardinals is James Cook, the running back out of Georgia. Now, I know that they just locked down James Conner to a big guaranteed money here, but you get James Cook in here. You just lost Chase Edmonds. You need a change of pace back. You need a running back that's going to be able to fit and work with Kyler Murray on 3rd down, and he could do that. Sometimes you can line him up in the slot. He is that running back to take the weight off of James Conner's hands. Now, I know we talk about how the running back position is almost dying. You don't need to spend big on him. I think you can find him in the early to late 3rd round. Perfect spot for the Arizona Cardinals to draft him. Again, he's a great change of pace back. He's good at blocking. He can work from the slot. He can do everything. He's obviously not what Dalvin Cook is. So James Cook is the brother of Dalvin Cook. He can't do exactly what he did. He's not going to play at that level. But with Kyler Murray, he's a great fit on that offense. He's a great change of pace back for James Conner. Go get him, Arizona Cardinals, James Cook.
I hate it.
Do you? I knew you would.
I hate it.
I knew you would.
I hate it. First of all, the disrespect you're showing to Eno Benjamin is just not nice. Eno Benjamin's a good backup. Eno Benjamin's going to get some playing time in Arizona this year behind James Conner. But James Conner's not coming off the field on these 3rd downs like that. Like what we saw James Conner do in the passing game last year should solidify him as a pretty much a 3-down back. If you're going to spell him, yeah, you can spell him. I think Arizona has so many needs that in so many positions, I don't think they're even have time to draft a running back. Like the defensive side of the ball, losing Chandler Jones, having no DBs, losing their wide receiver help in AJ Green, and all you have now is DeAndre Hopkins and who knows about a Rondale Moore.
James Cook can be a wide receiver. James Cook can play in the slot. Give him a Cooper Kupp type role.
Man, listen, no, stop. Just stop.
Look, AJ over here.
This is not a knock on James Cook. I think James Cook is one of the better, more versatile running backs coming out of this draft because his ability to pass protect and his ability to catch the football is at the upper echelon of this group. But I think Arizona has so many needs that in the 3rd round, I think it's still too early to be good looking at a running back. It's not that James Cook doesn't belong in that area or he shouldn't be drafted in that area. I just think Arizona themselves have so many other needs that that defense is going to need help. Because we see that offense, they're so fast-paced. When they go 3 and out, it puts the defense right back on the field. They have no depth defensively, especially on the back end. I think that was evident when you look at all of our picks coming up. Look where we all went. And then
where I
decided to go.
That's where I kind of wanted to go with mine first because I knew that it would be. I knew that the pick would not be like well received. Maybe I'll be the Dylan of for the Arizona Cardinals fans. They'll hate me for it.
It's not. Again, it's not a bad. The choice of the player is not bad because I really do like him. I just think the spot for him is not in Arizona. Like I think with signing Conner and Eno Benjamin being there, I think they're okay.
Yeah, he'd have to just fall in their lap and then they fall in love with the idea of another weapon because of the weapons they lost. But you're right. You're talking about a team that has improved year over year. And then at the end of the second half of both seasons, they're falling off. And there's reasons for that. And now they're missing pieces in critical areas. And if you don't have those buttoned up, you're not looking at a 9-0 run. You're not looking at a playoff berth. You're looking at trying to figure out where everything went wrong. So, it's not a bad pick. I love James Cook. You know why? But I'm going to go a little different, and we will jump over to the defensive side of the ball. And I think this guy who I chose is going to be a solid find if they decide to pick him up. And I'm going round 1. I'm sorry. I'm going round 1, pick 23, and I'm going with Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. I don't know how more people aren't talking about this guy. An absolute stud. His football IQ is top-notch, upper echelon. Great ball skills, great effort, great hustle. He plays with a smart aggression. Like, he's not just looking to hit somebody. He's making sure he's set up in the right spot to hit somebody. He plays downhill so fast. 18.5 tackles for loss last season. He's played a little bit of safety. He's played a little bit of linebacker. He lined up at slot cornerback over and over again, was a big part of this Baylor defense. And anytime you see the ball, if the ball is near, Petry's right there as well. This guy, he's going to be a solid all-around defensive player. Anybody who picks up Jalen Petry is going to be very, very happy with this guy.
You are muted, host.
That's a minus. That's a minus. Let me ask you a question here, though. You have a first-round grade on him. You say pick 23. What's your cornerback rank? Like, if you just off the top of the dome here, and the cornerbacks that you can think of, what would be your rankings for cornerbacks right now? If Petry's in round 1.
So I am first with Sauce Gardner. I think he's a little better. I won't say better than Derek Stingley. I've seen more Sauce Gardner more recently. And cornerback, to me, I don't know if you fall right in like you do as a wide receiver position like Jamar Chase did after a year off. So I would go Sauce Gardner, then I go Stingley, then I go McDuffie, then I would probably go Jalen Petry, and that is after seeing his tape. I know there's a lot of good guys out there. I have another guy coming up we can talk about. He's not on that level yet, but he has the capability to rise. So those would be my fourth. And, you can slide Kyler Gordon in there somewhere. I don't think he's fifth.
You forget about my boy that I talked about yesterday on Monday's show.
Kyer Elam.
Yeah,
you forgetting about my next guy?
Or the next guy that Dylan has.
Andrew Booth kind of ooh.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Sir.
So sorry.
Clown.
So sorry. My fault. My bad. You got me excited, bro. I'm just ready to. I'm sorry. I told you it's draft season. I'm hyped. My bad, folks. My bad, Phil. My bad. Why don't you just go right in and we can
want me to just come into it? All right. Well, it's Andrew Booth, Arizona Cardinals, cornerback, round 1 pick. Let's do it. Andrew Booth from Clemson University. Now, this guy, I tell you, the Clemson defense was good last year. They were pretty solid. They just couldn't score. So he made a lot of plays on that outside. He has great footwork. He's got very fast ball hawking skills and solid coverage skills. Tackling can be a little bit of a problem. He had 3 picks in 2021, 2 picks in 2020. He's bad against good route runners. So he might get beat a little bit if someone gives him a little shimmy head shake. That might leave his jock strap on the floor. But other than that, I mean, he's a pretty solid corner. I think he plays with a high motor. I like him a lot. And hey, they had some success. I think that a lot. I think I like Mr. Booth there from Clemson to the Arizona Cardinals. So speaking of their depth charges a little bit, I know they added Jeff Gladney. That he hasn't played football in a year. He had the off the field stuff. A little bit of question marks there. I think it's all right to where he could come in and potentially see some time, but not get enough time right away to where he could work his way into some consistent playing time on that defense.
So I have a question here, and it isn't really for Dylan. His pick, that's a good pick. I like that pick a lot. But your pick's in round 1. AJ's picks in round 1. You guys both went corner. I'm just going to tease this here real quick. Aaron, yours is a cornerback, but it's not in round 1. I want to know, before you get into your pick, where you think the Arizona Cardinals need to go in round 1.
I think edge rusher. What are they, 23?
Yep.
I think edge rusher is going to be where they go.
Okay.
Again, we talk about putting pressure on the quarterback. Those tend to be the most valuable guys. You can get a good one in the first round. You're okay after 4 years paying that guy. Not that I don't think this is a deep defensive back class, but I don't really think it's very deep. I think when you start actually getting off of those first 3 or 4 guys that we mentioned, all those guys have flaws. There's some upside there, but it's not like, hey, this is a sure thing here. So I think Sauce Gardner is going to be gone. I think Stingley's going to be gone. McDuffie, I think, will be there, but I don't think Arizona goes there because I do think they're going to go edge rusher. So at 23, I'm thinking edge rusher. Off the top of my head,
Okay.
who do I have a mock to? I don't know. I didn't go first round for this.
No, I was really asking more for the position. If the people want to know who your pick actually is, they're just going to have to tune into all of our social medias at Sac City Pod. But who do you have the Arizona Cardinals as a must grab player?
Well, it's a guy that I that's not really on my B roll, and I don't know where it went. Hold that thought, because I am going to.
He is
find
not
it
there either for me.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I will, and I won't do this really as a stalling thing, but I will give you a special shout out here. Somehow, some way, you got every single one of these B rolls at 33 seconds on the dot. And that's a lot of B-roll. That's a lot of videos. And if for people who don't know what we're talking about, we got videos rolling here. We're like a real show here, right? We do our best. And Aaron does all these videos on his wife's birthday. Shout out, Jess. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I mean, this is 33 seconds on the dot. When you have a clown show like Dylan, who gets his picks in at the very last minute, he is still able to get 33 seconds on the dot. That's special, man. That's special.
Don't give me your secrets.
I try. I'm not. Okay, so I got my guy up here. So look, I'm talking about a guy that maybe not a lot of people know about. He's only been a corner for 2 years. He's a converted wide receiver. He's from the University of Texas of San Antonio, and that's Tariq Woolen. This guy is rangy. He's long. He is not your typical body of a cornerback, right? You're talking about a guy 6'4", 205 who ran a 4.26 40. He has size, length, speed, great ball skills. Again, a converted wide receiver. He obviously can, learn some technique. It's kind of sloppy at times, needs to improve in the run game. But this is a playmaker on the defensive side of the football that is going to go and get you interceptions. His pad level is a little bit high at times, but this guy is going to make plays. I am going to throw out a name, and some of you may remember him. Some of you may not. He got in some trouble, but he reminds me a lot of a super fast version, a speedier version of a Brandon Browner. And Brandon Browner was a big, tall, rangy cornerback. He was 6'4", just like this guy. And you don't usually see that at this position, but this guy runs a 4.26. This is a guy who reminds me a lot of Antonio Cromartie's ball skills with Brandon Browner's size. And it's scary to me how good he could be if he can learn some technique, if he can get a coach in there that can teach him how to hold leverage, how to, work his hands on press coverage, because this guy is going to go and get the football. His pro day wasn't great. His what do they call the thing in Indy? I always forget what it's called. The combine. The combine. I was watching it. He was really sloppy and in and out of his breaks. But when he would go up for the football and high point a ball or just his speed, it was just out of this world. And I really like a guy like that, taking that upside, and maybe you can mold him into something. So I went with Tariq Woolen in the second round. It's probably a little bit high. I could see him dropping because of his raw, not having the experience, but some team is going to look at that physical freak and say, dude, we can make a player out of him. They always do. They love that size and speed.
I wanted to see where the rankings at, like some rankings. I went on to look at where roughly he is. He falls around 8th as the 8th best cornerback in this draft, right behind Kyler Gordon, Elam, McCreary out of Auburn, Andrew Booth. But he falls right there. Now, you brought up the fact that he was a converted wide receiver, and did you bring up Trayvon Diggs at all? Because that's what Diggs was. He is a converted wide receiver. Where he was. What is your assessment between those two players, and do you see Diggs in Woolen at all?
I think Diggs was a little bit more polished. He obviously playing at Alabama. You get the coaching that can polish you up a little bit better than a guy from University of Texas of San Antonio. So I don't want to compare those two, but they both have really good ball skills. And I think that's the comparison, is when you're a converted wide receiver, your ball skills are usually great because you've been catching the ball your whole life. So I like that aspect. I love playmakers. I like guys that are going to go create turnovers, even if you get beat. We talked about guys getting beaten. Diggs last year maybe got beat on some plays, but those sudden change turnovers are so big in the NFL. They create so much momentum that if you can do that, there's a spot for you in this league.
Okay. I like it. Let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers, who are one win away from making it to the Super Bowl. They need a guard, a safety, a cornerback. Their first pick falls in round 2 as the 61st pick, followed up by 93, and so on and so forth. AJ, let's start with you, buddy. Where do the San Francisco 49ers need to go in this draft? Who's a must-have player?
All right. So the 49ers, they lost some cornerback help, and their defense is kind of what they hang their hat on, knowing that their offense is going to have big explosive plays. So I kind of went to look for a guy who can get us some big explosive plays as well as help that defense. And that's cornerback Marcus Jones out of Houston. The cool thing about this guy is he's not just a cornerback, he is also a kick returner, punt returner, and what some people have called maybe the best punt returner in college football history. I'll let that be for everybody else. But this guy has played well when he got the opportunity to be a cornerback. 5 interceptions, 1 forced fumble in 2021. He got his first play against Memphis in 2021, and they went at him, put 18 targets on his head. He had 2 interceptions and 3 pass breakups. Didn't let much happen. Now, as a kick returner, as a special teams guy, you're getting him in the 3rd round. This guy has 9 total career return touchdowns in college. 9. Almost 3,000 return yards. It's insane, including a game-winning kick return touchdown against SMU in 2021. This guy will help you out, and we talked about these guys who need a little extra help to play their position. You can do it on special teams. You'll get that look. So I like this guy, Marcus Jones. He had 1 hit I was telling Aaron about. I wish it was on the B-roll. This guy's just flying down the sideline, and Marcus Jones is nowhere to be found. And at the last second, before he dives to the touchdown, Marcus Jones comes in, cleans his clock, makes him think twice about playing football ever again. He's physical, he's fast, and he can do it for you on the defensive side of the ball and on special teams. Marcus Jones, University of Houston.
Cleans his clock.
I like that pick. I like that pick.
This was one of my favorite picks, honestly, out of all 16 of our picks today. We talk about playmaking. I just mentioned that to have the ability to play special teams at the elite level in which he did, and still have the skill and technique to fit in as a defensive back. Like, is he going to be perfect? No. Are there some technique things he needs to learn? Yes. Does he have some sloppy footwork at times? But this is a guy that you can put on the field day one and have an impact on your team. And I think with the loss of everybody the 49ers lost, especially in the back end, they're going to need that. And I think this is a guy that you can feel comfortable drafting and have him fit right in. They got Ambry, who was a rookie last year. So I wondered how early they go DB in this draft, and they started to like him. But they lost guys on the safety, and then obviously the other corner could use some help. So I just, like I said, this was one of my favorite picks, honestly, out of all 16.
Well done, AJ. Well done. I'm going to piggyback off this one and go with my pick. It's a safety out of Georgia. I'm going with Lewis Cine. He is a player, and you brought up something here that I'm hoping it's in the B-roll. We'll find out if it is. But he had a play against Kyle Pitts in the Florida-Georgia game that you talk about rocket players. This boy lit Kyle Pitts up in this game, but let's get into it. Lewis Cine. Safety out of Georgia. This dude is an absolute animal, and they might have to trade up for this. This is one of the rare times where I'm saying a team should be trading up for this guy. They have 2 third-round picks and this late second-round pick. If I'm San Francisco, I am trading up to get Lewis Cine, the safety out of Georgia. He sees the game fantastic. He's a reliable tackler. We just talked about Kobe Bryant before, how his concern was tackling. You don't have to worry about that at all with Cine. He is one of the best run defensive safeties in the nation. He's first among SEC safeties in terms of a run defense grade, according to PFF, which obviously I don't have a subscription to. Sorry, Cincinnati Bengals fans. But he is the highest graded safety. He had the highest graded safety season at Georgia since 2018 this past year. This dude will go up and give you a little he'll go up, he'll crack you, he'll leave you wounded. He sees the field incredible. Lewis Cine, safety, Georgia, boom.
Baby Vaccaro. He reminds me a lot of Kenny Vaccaro coming out of Texas. I really, really like him. I didn't get no B-roll of him hitting Kyle Pitts from 2 years ago or whatever.
Well, so basically, you know how you were talking about how you were concerned about Dylan pronouncing the guy's name right? I looked up all my players' names beforehand and to make sure that I was pronouncing their name right. And the one video I got where they actually said his name was the Florida-Georgia game where he just absolutely, and he got tossed where it was like a targeting penalty and everything. It was bad, but it wasn't like he purposely tried to do it. Like if I saw that, I would have been like, I don't know if I want to make it here. But this is not only a pick that San Francisco should make in the second round, but this is a pick that they should go up and get. They have 2 third-round picks, make a move, and go get yourself a safety.
I like it. I like it.
Defense, man. I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, if you're taking somebody off Georgia's defense, it's hard to say, no, that's a bad pick.
Exactly. Aaron, you also have a safety. Who do you think the Niners should be going after? I
do have a safety. My safety is not probably as well known as your safety, but he's maybe.
I'm sorry,
maybe
it's kind of a big deal.
Maybe he doesn't play on Georgia's defense, but I also think that losing guys like Jaquiski Tartt, obviously, who drops the interception, maybe sends them. But their back end needs help. I was only focused on their back end. I didn't care where else we talked about draft. The 49ers need to draft somebody on the back end, and for me, it's safety Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph from Illinois. Again, many people may not have heard of him, but this is a guy who is rangy. He can fight through blocks. He has very, very good ball skills. I am about playmaking. He is opportunistic. He's versatile. He had 57 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 2 pass breakups. He is the highest graded safety by PFF metrics, by the way, in 2021, guys. You guys should check out PFF. Highest graded safety. This guy, again, is just a playmaker. He finds the football, and good things happen when he's around the ball. I think the 49ers, again, an opportunistic defense with an offense that we're not sure how they're going to work with the quarterback position, gets them some extra possessions. I think it's big that they go get a playmaker on the back end, and I like Kirby Joseph to do that.
Either way, safety is the call, and focus on that back end. Aaron is a big guy who likes focusing on.
I like back ends. I like when they have a nice back end,
especially tonight. Happy birthday, Jessica!
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Shout out Porto.
Oh Lord. Oh man.
Can we confirm about Porto's back end? Is that
it's pretty large. It's large.
All right, Dylan, you're Porto's #1 fan here. Bring us home with the San Francisco 49ers pick.
Speaking of Porto, let's stay out in California with the 49ers here with the last pick in the draft. Last pick on the 49ers side of our coverage here. I'm actually going later into the 3rd round. Their second, 3rd round pick, I'm going to the back end, and I'm going Cordell Flott. Cordell Flott. We've seen a lot of LSU defensive backs just thrive in this league. This guy's a great corner. He is very unpolished, though. So that's why I think he's a mid to late, their second, 3rd round pick. He has a high motor. He plays his ass off, Rudy style. He's got a long corner. Needs to get thick. He's only 175 pounds. He only had 1 pick last year. But like I said, he's very raw, tons of upside. He's solid in zone coverage, can make a lot of plays in that area. I think he could fit well in that NFC East division as a cornerback. I mean, they did sign Chuck Ward and Darqueze Dennard. They also got some other pieces there at the cornerback position. So he doesn't need to start right away. I just think there's a lot of upside with this guy. He is lanky, but I think he's a solid football player and can help the 49ers eventually, if not this year.
Yeah, if only the Niners played in the NFC East, huh?
I'm at West.
I know what you meant. No, I like him, and you mentioned
thinking about Porto's back end.
LSU. LSU is they always have high rated guys coming out on their defensive backfield. So when you get a guy there, that's somebody that's been coached well, that's played at a high level, playing in the SEC. The only thing I don't like about him, honestly, is his name. I'm not excited if he becomes a star. Hey, that's another play by Cordell Flott. Like, that just doesn't excite me.
You imagine Gus Johnson? Cordell Flott.
One of the Cordells.
Not a bad pick.
One of the Flotts. Big time Flott guy. All right, let's do our last team here. It's the Seattle Seahawks. Their needs look like this. Obviously, the Seattle Seahawks are talked about a lot this offseason, obviously trading Russell Wilson. Their needs look like this: tackle, cornerback, and a quarterback. They've got picks 9, 40, 41, 72, so on and so forth. I want to start this one off because it ties into, it doesn't really tie in. It's just a good segue. Dylan, you had an LSU guy. We're talking about LSU's backfield. I'm going to go up a level, and I'm going to talk about LSU's linebacking group and talk about how the Seattle Seahawks need to go out and get Damon Clark. Now, I know what everyone's saying. Damon Clark obviously had the big news break just after the combine that he's going to require spinal fusion surgery that will put him out all of 2022 season. He'll miss his entire rookie season. But this dude easily could have been a first-round pick if he did not have to go through that surgery. He is an absolute dog for the LSU Tigers this past season. I watched him a lot when he dominated against Alabama. I watched him a lot in the SEC. This guy is a tackle machine. And hey, Seattle, you just lost a guy named Bobby Wagner, who is arguably one of the best tacklers in the NFL. Go out and get Damon Clark, and in 2 years, you're going to be able to see him be one of the best tacklers in the NFL. Led the SEC in tackles, 4th in the nation. He's an absolute machine. Will fit perfectly under Pete Carroll. Go get you Damon Clark.
I have a question about that. I did not know at first that he, what had happened, and he's having the spinal fusion surgery. Do you see a situation possibly where it's like when the Cowboys drafted, why can't I think of anybody's name right now? Jalen Smith out of Notre Dame, and they kind of thought he wasn't going to play. He didn't play because they reached. I mean, he was supposed to go first round. They reached early in the second round to take him. Do you think this is the kind of a player who you mentioned maybe projected in the first round that can last until the 4th round? Or is a team going to jump on that sooner and say, you know what, we'll sacrifice, especially maybe a winning team, we'll sacrifice this year because of the type of player he can be? And I know that might be medical concern. Maybe they have to check all the medical boxes first, but I could see him maybe even going a little bit earlier than the 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. And if I'm Seattle, I would even go as far as going into the 3rd round with trying to get him. I mean, this is a guy who is and that's the thing with Seattle. And you talk about how maybe a winning team goes out and get him, and obviously he can recover while they're still winning. Whereas Seattle, you're in that rebuild mode, so you're not going to be winning anything this year anyways. So go out and get you those building blocks, those foundation pieces that are going to be able to take you through the next 5-10 years. Damon Clark is that guy. He's an exceptional talent. He's an absolute stud. Could be would have been a 1st round pick in my opinion if he didn't have to go through this surgery. Almost like, and I don't want to make the same comparison because Jock had an injury or health concerns that he could play through, but it made him fall. And now this is going to make Damon Clark fall, whether he falls that far to the 4th round or not. I think this is a player that the Seattle Seahawks must go grab even in the 3rd round. Shit, I don't even care if it's in the 2nd round if you have to do it. Go out and get you a Damon Clark.
That's too far.
I don't know if you can get the 2nd, but I get you.
I worry about a team like Seattle doing that. Yeah.
It's a spinal injury. It's not an ACL for Jalen Smith. It's not a heart condition for Jock. This is a spinal injury, that spinal fusion that he's going through.
To be fair, Jalen's wasn't just an ACL; he had nerve damage,
whole knee.
And so they were concerned about even ever having filling in his knee again. So I just think it might be a little bit early for a team that has so many holes. Like if you're a team that's close to winning, you can say, you know what, we'll just put him on the back burner. We already have a middle linebacker, maybe who's going to be a free agent in a year. But with the team like that, I don't know if you want to use a pick and then you're not only your organization, your fan base is everybody like, man, what are you doing? We have to wait a year to see if this guy can even play at the level he played at before. Yeah, but it's an interesting idea.
Well, maybe Seahawks fans will be like Jaguar fans when the Jags took Brian Anger over Russell Wilson shortly after, and they could feel like us and be heartbroken.
We were
who's
very
next?
angry.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. Aaron, you obviously have some connections to my pick. I'll go with you next.
Okay. Oh, I got you. Now,
yeah, I see what I'm doing there.
Hey, I got you.
Okay, let's keep
we're gonna
keep it going.
We're gonna stay in the SEC, and I think it's DB all the way. If Seattle takes a linebacker, it'll be Devin Lloyd in the 1st round, but I don't think they go there. I think they take a defensive back, and it's Derek Stingley. Arguably the best defensive back prospect to ever play at LSU. This guy has everything. And today there was concerns about his pro day, and he ran a 4.3. Talking about a 6-foot corner who's fast, physical, fluid, patient, has speed, and his ball skills are off the charts. This dude is a legit lockdown corner. I think he might end up being the best cornerback out of this draft, as much as I love Sauce Gardner. And I think Sauce goes first. I think if Seattle can get him at 9, I think they're winning here. He had 6 interceptions in his freshman season. Then he had a shortened 2020 and only played 3 games last year. So a lot of people haven't seen a whole lot of him in a few years, and that there's been some concerns about the foot injury, but he went out on his pro day and shined. I think this guy is a top 10 lock, and I give my player comps all the time. This is D'Angelo Hall. D'Angelo Hall was a very, very, very good corner in the NFL for a very long time, and this guy has that potential. I love him.
Boom. That does it for our NFC West draft coverage for this evening. We've broken it down. If you guys missed any of it, all the YouTube clips will be out there on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. And if you want to go back and watch or listen to the entire show, please check it out on all podcasting platforms. We are there. And be sure to leave us a review. AJ, break it down for the fans one more time before we head on out.
I can do that. Ladies, gentlemen, head on over to Sac City Pod on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on TikTok. Those things are good for your breath. Just like TikTok is good for your life, especially when you subscribe to Sac City Pod. So head over there, do that, hit those likes, hit those shares. It ain't a good day without the Sac City Pod, baby.
Oh, loving these rhymes, loving these rhymes. We'll be back again on Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Belly Up Sports TV on Roku. Please check us out there. Check us out everywhere. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for your boy AJ Johnson, for my best friend Aaron Mukes, and for the smoothest voice in sportscasting, Dylan Kearns. I am me. We will see you Friday.
Peace out.
Bye.
That's what we call a sack lunch. Nom, 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 nom.